Chapter 671. To explain was to cover up, to remain silent was to acquiesce, and to deny it was too shameless. The three of them quickly put on their clothes. Then, Ning Fan told them everything about the two ladies who had been asleep for 40 years. In order to free himself, he had reached the 6th demolishing level. Refining the 7 life and death crystals would trigger the ancient heavenly tribulation. During the 2nd life and death tribulation, he did something inappropriate with the two girls. Ning Fan did not tell them the specific details of the life and death tribulation. The 3rd tribulation was related to the purple dipper, while the 1st tribulation was related to the existential plane. Thus, he naturally could not tell them about it casually. After listening to Ning Fan's explanation, the little demoness wore a thoughtful expression while Hong Yi had already calmed down. It was absurd in the dream, but in reality, it had not been broken. Yuan Hong, was this a comfort? The little demon girl thought about it for a long time. Her Yuan Hong could not be broken so easily, or else many people would die. At first, he was angry because of this matter. Seeing that Yuan Hong was not broken, he could not help but feel slightly relieved. Then, he began to think about Ning Fan's fortuitous encounter. The life and death tribulation was an ancient tribulation that countless cultivators yearned for. It was said that one could comprehend the great Tao during the tribulation. Ning Fan actually came across such a good thing. Isn't his luck a little too good? Also, the last time he fished a dragon, he actually fished up the yin and yang dragons. Was he really a black fate? The black eyes of the demoness flickered. Then, she looked at Ning Fan slyly and smiled evilly. My tofu has been eaten by you. You can't not take responsibility for it. Just a moment ago he was still huffing and puffing with anger, and now he was trying to be funny. Ning Fan shook his head helplessly. He didn't really think that the little demoness wanted to marry him. Hong Yi, on the other hand, looked at Ning Fan quietly. She was not a person who cared about trifles. However, she had a prideful nature. Just now when she saw Ning Fan's reaction, she thought that she had been raped by him and lost all her face. Naturally, she was furious. Now that she knew the truth and that Ning Fan did not do it on purpose, she no longer cared about the fact that Ning Fan had seen her naked body. Didn't she also face Ning Fan naked the last time? What was there to mind? In the past, didn't he also see Ning Hong's clone naked? Besides, according to what she knew, Ning Fan had helped her take revenge by killing the Rain Sovereign and the Cloud Lion. Previously, he even helped her resurrect. From this point of view, she owed Ning Fan a great debt of gratitude. Even if he really destroys her, she would only feel angry. She would not kill Ning Fan. Speaking of which, she originally wanted to take revenge herself. Even if Lu Haoyue and the others wanted to help her, she would still firmly refuse. She did not like anyone interfering in her affairs, except for Ning Fan. Ning Fan had helped her to take revenge and she actually felt that it was a good thing. Hong Yi, you said that you are my companion demon. You are indeed Hong, aren't you? Ning Fan suddenly asked Hong Yi. Yes. When I died, my primordial spirit split into 10,000. Ning Hong was one of them. I can be considered your demon companion, but I'm not. Since she had taken the initiative to ask, Hong Yi would not lie. Is that so? Speaking of which, the two of you have been asleep for 40 years. How much has your Tao of life and death improved? Tao of life and death. Hong Yi looked at her dantian and continued. I already have 1,000 life and death Tao patterns. As for his cultivation base, he actually broke through to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm in just a dream and avoided the heavenly tribulation. This ice bed is so mysterious. I already have 3,800 life and death Tao patterns. I'm close to attaining the life immortal realm. The little demoness cultivation base had already recovered to the peak 9 soul-breaking realm. Now that her Tao of life and death had reached the perfection realm, her strength was comparable to the old Yuan Emperor at his peak. In addition to the means she had at the 4 heavenly realms, her strength was much stronger than the old Yuan Emperor. Speaking of which, my husband, you really surprised me. Attaining the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm in 40 years. With your current strength, if the people of the mountain world provoke you, I'm afraid they will be looking for trouble. The little demoness smiled evilly. She really wanted to see the unlucky faces of the people of the mountain world. Ning Fan smiled faintly without saying a word. His gaze swept across the stone room, and eventually fell on the ice bed. How about the three of us take this ice bed together? All right, Hong Yi said in an indifferent tone. She had tried using the ice bed. Each of them could only sleep on it once to comprehend life and death once. After waking up, they could no longer use the ice bed to comprehend the Tao of life and death. She had already comprehended life and death once. To her, this ice bed was not essential. As long as Ning Fan asked her, she would naturally help him. I don't have any opinion on taking this ice bed away. However, after that, who will be the owner of this ice bed? The little demoness said smilingly. You are the dignified young lord of the godly void pavilion. Do you still need to fight with me for an ice bed from the mortal world? Ning Fan was speechless. I didn't say that I want to fight with you. Kiss me and I will help you take the ice bed away. The little demoness stood on her tiptoes and moved her face closer to Ning Fan's. The kiss in my dream was too much. I don't feel like kissing you now. Let's start taking the ice bed away. Ning Fan teased her back. After that incident, he was no longer as distant towards the little demoness as he was in the past. If the little demoness teases him again, he would really kiss her. The little demoness' face turned red. She took a few steps back as if she had recalled the dream again. She no longer dared to tease Ning Fan with her body. He pretended to be calm and smiled at Hong Yi. Sister Hong Yi, it's enough for the two of us to take this ice bed away. Little Fanfan's cultivation base is the lowest. Let him go to the side to cool off. All right. Hong Yi's tone was still as indifferent as before. One of the two ladies was at the peak 9th break realm while the other was at the 8th break realm. They moved at the same time and uprooted the ice bed from the stone chamber. The ice bed immediately turned into a small ice bed that was the size of a palm. After handing the ice bed to Ning Fan, the two ladies tried to break free from the stone chamber with their respective cultivation bases. Ning Fan did not say much. He took a step forward and wrapped his arms around the two ladies' slender waists. Then he closed his eyes. The only thought in his mind was to escape from this place. All of a sudden, everyone left the stone chamber, and even the magical treasure world of the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting. In the forbidden area, there was a huge bronze palace. There was a bronze platform on which an ancient painting was placed. Inside the bronze palace, Ning Fan appeared with the two ladies in his arms. He let go of them and walked towards the ancient painting. Is this the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting? Ning Fan walked closer to it and carefully studied the ancient map. The ancient painting depicted 1,000 snowy mountains and 10,000 li of glaciers. There was also a fisherman fishing alone in the cold river. The ancient painting contained an extremely strong Tao of life and death. It could help cultivators comprehend life and death, and obtain the chance to become an immortal. This treasure was very good. With this painting, the godly void pavilion would most likely have many life immortals. Ning Fan was extremely tempted by this painting, but he did not have the intention to snatch it. He promised the little demoness to get the painting, and he would not break his promise. Moreover, if he snatched the painting, the little demoness would not be able to answer to the godly void pavilion. Doesn't my husband love to kill people and snatch their treasures? I thought you would kill me for the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting. I'm so scared. I didn't expect you to not be greedy after seeing this painting. The little demoness looked at Ning Fan with a smile. There was a hint of surprise in her eyes. Ning Fan shook his head and took a few steps back, letting the little demoness collect the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting alone. Hong Yi did not go forward to look at the painting at all, as if she was indifferent to it. She had already received some benefits from helping the little demoness. She would not do anything else. There seem to be 4 people in this painting. Are they He Shirshio and the others? The little demoness held the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting in her hand. With a shake, 4 human figures appeared and landed on the ground. There were 3 frozen corpses and Yin Yomu, who was on the verge of death. He Shirshio, Gong Yangzi and Xian Hua had all died in the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting. Yin Yomu, on the other hand, was in a daze. He Shirshio is dead? This is going to be a little troublesome. The Jade Dao sect will probably come to my Godly Void Pavilion to make a ruckus and ask for more benefits. Forget it. I'll leave these matters to the old monsters in the pavilion to worry about. It has nothing to do with me. The little demoness kept the immemorial fisherman's Mino painting and smiled at Ning Fan. Are you going to save this Yin Yomu or not? If you don't, he will die here. If he stays in the rain world, he will more or less be of some use to it. It's a waste for him to die here. Ning Fan flicked his finger, and a low-grade 7th revolution pill flew into Yin Yomu's mouth. Then he flicked his sleeve and took away the storage pouches of Hishirshio, Xianhua and Gongyangzi. His actions were extremely familiar. He had already used up all of his Dao crystals. He just wanted to get some Dao crystals from the storage pouches of Hishirshio, Xianhua and Gongyangzi. There were a total of 50,000 Dao crystals in their storage pouches. Hishirshio's storage pouch also contained an immortal-grade restriction-breaking talisman. As for the other items, he did not need to care about them. After consuming the pill, Yin Yomu gradually regained consciousness. While he was in a daze, he vaguely felt that he had been saved by someone. When he opened his eyes, he realized that the person who saved him was actually Ning Fan. His expression turned extremely complicated. When he saw the corpses of Hishirshio and the other two, he could not help but sigh. He struggled to get up and cupped his fists at Ning Fan. Thank you for saving me, Divine Sovereign. You don't have to thank me. I saved you because you are of some use to the rain world. That's all. As long as you don't cause any trouble in the rain world, you will be able to live until the Dao poison takes effect. Ning Fan's words carried the aura force of a 6th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. Yin Yomu's expression changed when he felt Ning Fan's powerful aura force. He estimated that it had only been 40 years since he was trapped in the immemorial fisherman's cowhide painting. In just 40 years, Ning Fan had advanced from the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm to the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The current Ning Fan was fully qualified to be a titled Rain Sovereign. He was the Evil Cloud Rain Sovereign. The two words Evil Cloud could truly become his title. With him around, the rain world would probably welcome a prosperous day. When Yin Yomu thought of this, the complicated expression in his eyes became even more intense. When he thought of the Dao poison in his body, he could not help but sigh continuously. Forget it. If I can live for 1,000 years, then I'll just live for another 1,000 years. There should be 1 or 2 years left before the opening of the ancient heavenly court. I'm close to breaking through to the life immortal realm, and I need to return to the eastern heaven immediately to enter seclusion in the Godly Void Pavilion, and pass this painting to the old monsters in the pavilion. Little Fan, what are your plans? What about Big Sister Hong Yi? With your potential, if you want to ascend to the eastern heaven, I can give you an ascension quota. I don't like being controlled by others. It was a very simple sentence, but it expressed Hong Yi's attitude. She would not use the ascension quota of the Godly Void Pavilion to ascend. I naturally want to return to you country, and make some preparations for the trip to the ancient heavenly court. Hong, follow me back to you country. Ning Fan looked at Hong Yi. All right. It was a very simple sentence without any hesitation. Actually, I also miss Little Liang very much. I haven't forgotten what happened in the Demon Sinister Forest. Unnecessary explanations did not fit Hong Yi's character. It seemed like she was trying to cover something up. Sigh. Even Big Sister Hong Yi isn't willing to ascend to the eastern heaven and be my companion. It's really lonely. Then are we going to part ways once we leave the immortal burning valley? Little Demoness sighed. Before we part ways, how about helping me do one more thing? As soon as he finished speaking, he told Little Demoness and Hong Yi about the matter of collecting the immortal fire and formation. Collecting the immortal fire and formation required almost 2 rogue immortals to do it at the same time. The rogue devil and Little Demoness were enough. If I help you, what benefits will you give me? The corner of Little Demoness' mouth rose slightly. Are you going to help me or not? Ning Fan asked helplessly. Of course, I'll help you. You're my husband after all. Of course I'll help you. Ning Fan, Hong Yi, Little Demoness, and Yin Yomu left the immemorial 5 stages together. After returning to the inner valley of the immortal burning valley, Ningfan ordered Yinyomu to return to the middle state to recuperate first. Then he sent out 2 message-transmitting flying swords. One of them was sent to the middle state while the other one was sent to 7 Apricot City to inform everyone that he was safe. The message-transmitting flying swords that replied to him arrived very quickly. In the past 40 years, nothing major had happened in the Rain World. However, as the ancient heavenly court was about to open, many cultivators of the Rain World were rushing to the southeastern continent. After all, there was only one entrance to the ancient heavenly court in the Rain World, and it was near Yu country. With Li Long guarding the southeastern continent, there was no need to worry about any trouble. Collecting the immortal fire took quite some time. Ningfan summoned the rogue devil and asked it to work together with little Demoness to collect the immortal fire and formation. Hongyi helped him from the side. As for Ningfan, he stepped on Nieli and went to fight against the many vengeful spirits in the inner valley. The vengeful spirits were endless. They would definitely die in 7 days, but they would be reborn 7 days later. To others, this place was a dangerous place. However, to Ningfan, it was the best place for him to gain experience. The little Demoness spent a whole year collecting the immortal fire and formation. Within this year, Ningfan had killed countless void fragmentation realm vengeful spirits. His qi gradually became stronger and more condensed. At this moment he could finally be considered as a true 6-break realm cultivator. The immortal fire and formation were all collected by the little Demoness. The immortal fire was sealed inside the steel of sun and moon. With Ningfan's current cultivation base, it would not take him long to be completely refined by the steel of sun and moon. The immortal formation was collected together with all 256 abodes, and was sealed inside a compass. As soon as Ningfan returned to Yu country, he could set up this immortal formation within the entire country. After everything was settled, Ningfan kept his rogue devil, and looked at the little Demoness in silence. The little Demoness, on the other hand, looked at Ningfan with a smile, and took out a compass that was engraved with a special talisman. As soon as she activated it, an immortal gate appeared. Inside the gate was an immortal path that led to the Eastern Heaven immortal world. With a gentle leap, she stepped onto the immortal path and gradually walked further away. Suddenly, she turned back and gave Ningfan a sly smile. "Don't forget that you still owe me a 3rd promise." As soon as she finished speaking, she left with a giggle and the immortal gate closed. "Is she gone?" Ningfan sighed softly. He did not expect to feel a little disappointed after seeing the little Demoness leave. "Let's go back to Yu country." Ningfan looked at Hongyi. "All right." Hongyi answered in a casual manner. The two of them rose into the sky and turned into rays of light, heading back to the southeastern continent. 1 month later, the news that Thunder Sovereign Buzhou was still alive and had broken through to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm spread across the 9 worlds. The Rain World's strength skyrocketed, and even the 3 middle realms were shocked. Even the 3 upper realms did not dare to underestimate the Rain World. 2 months later, an immortal grade grand formation appeared in the territory of Yu country. Only a few people knew about it. 3 months later, the shadow of an ancient heavenly gate appeared 900,000 zhang above the border of Yu country. That shadow was slowly solidifying. It was the immortal gate that led to the ruins of the ancient heavenly court. There was only one such immortal gate in the Rain World and a few other worlds. Countless cultivators of the Rain World gathered at the border of Yu country, waiting for the opportunity to enter the ancient heavenly court. Those who were excited about this matter included Harmonious Spirit Realm cultivators, Gold Core Realm cultivators, Nascent Soul Realm cultivators, and Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. However, there were only a few Void Refinement Realm cultivators, and none of them were at the Void Fragmentation Realm. The ancient heavenly court was divided into 2 parts, the Shattered Realm and the 33 Heavens. The Broken Realm was a place where countless ruins of the Heaven Court had been destroyed. There were very few dangers here, and there weren't many fortuitous opportunities. It was a place where low-grade cultivators liked to search for treasures. Nanyang Zi had found Mu Weiliang's green coffin in a cave in the Broken Territory, but he didn't know how valuable it was. Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators naturally would not bother to enter the ancient heavenly court if they only wanted to search for opportunities in the broken domain. If a void fragmentation realm cultivator enters the ancient heavenly court, his target would certainly be the 33 heavens. 33 layered heavens. With each additional layer, the danger would increase. Cultivators below the level of a 3 demolisher would only be tempted to enter. The overall strength of the void fragmentation realm cultivators in the rain world was relatively weak. They did not possess the strength to enter this place. Naturally, they would not be interested in the ancient heavenly court. In the other worlds, there were countless void fragmentation realm old monsters who were keen on going to the 33 heavens to seek their fortune. For example, Wuxia Emperor. In the rain world, Ning Fan was the only one who would enter the ancient heavenly court this time. Hong Yi had broken through to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm in her sleep. She needed a lot of time to stabilize her cultivation base. Thus, she was too lazy to go to the ancient heavenly court. Ning Fan, of course, would not forcefully invite Hong Yi to go with him just to deal with Wuxia Sovereign. Even though Hong Yi would certainly agree to his invitation if he asks, Ming Ke, on the other hand, really wanted to go to the ancient heavenly court to have some fun. Ning Fan wondered if the mysterious true immortal who schemed against her would send someone to look for her during the opening of the ancient heavenly court. If I leave her in the rain world, I won't feel at ease. It's better to bring her along with me to the ancient heavenly court. This time, only Ning Fan and Ming Ke would go to the ruins of the ancient heavenly court. The others would not go. All of them would stay in the rain world. The immortal formation Hong Yi Li Long. With these safeguards, even if rogue immortals enter your country, they would not be able to get any benefits. They might even die in the rain world. The sealing pot of the dragon's soul was temporarily kept with Su Qiuling. What Ning Fan was thinking about was to help the ladies refine the dragon's soul after returning from the ancient heavenly court. The night was dim and the wind and snow were silent. Ning Fan stood in the wind and snow, looking at the shadow of the immortal gate in the night sky far away. His heart was as calm as still water. With a chi sound, a crack suddenly appeared in the hollow space beside him. A ray of black light flew out from the crack. Ning Fan bent his palm and sucked it. It was a battle invitation written on black jade. This black jade battle invitation was sent from the devil world with the help of an item teleportation formation. There was only one sentence in the battle invitation. In the ancient heavenly court, fight me to the death without the help of any external forces. Do you dare? Even though there was no signature, Ning Fan knew who sent this battle invitation. Wuxia Sovereign. Even without the help of any external forces, I'm not afraid of you. I'm no longer the harmonious spirit realm I was 100 years ago. Ning Fan crushed the battle invitation with his palm and closed his eyes. Wei Xian will bring people to help me. Unfortunately, there's no need for that anymore. Why would the current him be afraid of Wuxia Sovereign? Some debts must be settled no matter how many years have passed. Wuxia Sovereign was secondary. Ning Fan's main purpose of entering the ancient heavenly court was to find the undying tree. He wanted to find the undying tree to reconstruct Mu Weiliang's soul. In order to achieve this goal, he would not give way no matter how many people fight for the undying tree. Rumble. The immortal gate in the distance suddenly let out a loud rumbling sound that echoed across the entire rain world. On this night, countless cultivators of the rain world rose to their feet and looked at the southeastern continent. At the border of Yu country, countless cultivators rose into the sky and swarmed towards the immortal gate the moment the gate was opened. Brother Biscuit, let's go quickly. Don't let them get ahead of us. Little Ming Ke dashed out with a swoosh and dragged Ning Fan towards the immortal gate. The two of them entered the immortal gate with just a few teleportations and vanished without a trace. Inside the Pill sect on Danxia planet in the eastern heaven immortal world, an elderly man in green robes with a scholarly appearance was standing beside the teleportation formation. He was reminding a middle-aged man who was a rogue immortal. The ancient heavenly court has opened. On the 29th day of your trip to the ancient heavenly court, collect all the ghosts in the 8th and 9th formation zones of the ghost nurturing grounds for me. Oh right, when you go to the rain world later on, take this compass with you. You should be able to find the pill devil that I am raising by following the compass. Humph. That pill devil does have some capabilities. It actually broke my imprint. I wonder where it has escaped to. Fortunately, I have taken a drop of devil blood and planted it in this compass. With this compass, I can easily find the location of that pill devil. Capture that pill devil, and bring her back to the Eastern Heaven. Don't let her run around anymore. If she is harmed by others, the pill devil that I have painstakingly obtained will be crippled. Remember, there is only one compass. If it is lost or destroyed, I will never be able to find the whereabouts of that pill devil. The elderly man's eyes were sharp as he stared at the rogue immortal. The rogue immortal immediately cupped his fists respectfully and promised. Old ancestor, don't worry. Changshan will not let you down. I will definitely complete this mission successfully. Of course. If you can still mess up such a simple mission, I will use your primordial spirit to concoct a pill. Go. Yes. Changshan did not dare to disobey the elderly man in front of him. This was because this elderly man was the famous sect master of the pill faction in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. With the cultivation of the crossing reality realm, he was considered a powerful figure in the Eastern Heaven immortal world. His ninth revolution pill refinement realm allowed the sect master to have many friends. He was very popular in the star regions near Danxia planet. Changshan could not afford to offend such a person. He carefully put away the compass and stepped into the teleportation array. In the next instant, he appeared in the 29th heaven of the 33 heavens of the ancient heavenly court. This was the teleportation array that the sect master of the pill faction had spent a lot of effort to set up. As long as the ancient heavenly court opened it, he could directly teleport to the 29th heaven and check the situation in the 8th and 9th heaven of the land of ghost nurturing. Changshan went straight to the land of ghost nurturing after entering the 29th heaven. The 8th heaven of the land of ghost nurturing had nurtured a total of 9 life immortal ghosts. The 9th heaven of the land of ghost nurturing had not nurtured a single perfected immortal ghost. After Changshan killed the 9 ghosts with a secret technique and collected the sense beads, he looked very disappointed. If he could bring back the perfected immortal sense beads, he would definitely be rewarded by the old ancestor. If he could be rewarded with an 8th revolution immortal pill, he would have a high chance of becoming an immortal in this life. Forget it, let's see where that pill devil is now. Changshan carefully took out the compass and made a hand seal. In an instant his expression became strange. Interesting, that pill devil actually entered the ancient heavenly court. This is good too. It saves me the trouble of going to the rain world. Changshan sneered. It would take a few months to travel from the 29th heaven to the 1st heaven. Let's go straight to the 1st heaven and capture the little pill devil. No more updates, don't wait. Chapter 672. Inside the immortal gate, there was an endless broken continent that floated in the sea of clouds. On the continent, there were broken walls, broken magical treasures that had exhausted all their spiritual chi and dried bones that would turn into ashes with just a touch. This was the ruins of the ancient heavenly court, the lower broken domain. He flew upwards from the broken domain. After passing through hundreds of layers of the broken domain, he arrived at the end of the broken domain. There was a sealed door that led to the 1st heaven realm of the 33 heavenly worlds. In the lower layer of the broken domain, many low-grade cultivators had already begun to search for the ruins. Occasionally, they would find a cave dwelling that still had spiritual chi. Immediately, many cultivators would fight for it. The moment Ning Fan entered the broken domain from the passage of the rain world, some cultivators who had good eyesight immediately dispersed in shock. They could see that Ning Fan was an old monster who had concealed his strength. Although they didn't know Ning Fan's exact cultivation base, they definitely wouldn't dare to provoke him. A few low-grade cultivators of the rain world recognized Ning Fan as the divine sovereign of the rain world and cupped their fists to greet him. Ning Fan just nodded and dispersed these low-grade cultivators. Ming Ke wore an eager expression. She sniffed the lower layer of the broken domain, and her face was filled with disappointment. What a broken heaven court. There's nothing good here. Her nose was very sensitive. With just a sniff, she could tell if there were hidden treasures in this place. This is the lower layer of the broken domain. There are only harmonious spirit gold core realm cultivators here looking for opportunities. Naturally, there's nothing that you like. Then let's go to the upper layer. I'll be in charge of finding treasures, and you'll be in charge of killing the monsters. We'll split the treasures we find in half, alright? Ming Ke said with an eager expression. Alright. But wait for a while. I have an appointment with someone in the ancient heavenly court. Ooh, you don't know. Ning Fan was waiting for Si Wuxia and Wei Xian. Si Wuxia was here to look for the helper of the undying tree, while Wei Xian was here to deal with Moksha Sovereign. After waiting for a long time, the two of them still hadn't arrived. However, there were two sound-transmitting flying swords that flew to Ning Fan's front. Spirit-severing realm and void refinement realm cultivators could use sound-transmitting flying swords, but these flying swords could only transmit sound in the inner realm and not the outer realm. Sound-transmitting flying swords were the unique ability of life immortal realm cultivators. These two sound-transmitting flying swords were from Si Wuxia and Wei Xian. Si Wuxia said, I will wait for you in the 33 heavens. I have found the immortal tree, but it has been sealed by someone. It will take 3 years to break. Within 3 years you must rush to the 33 heavens, no matter the cost. Wei Xian said, this old man brought 2 itinerant immortal friends to help. There were some delays on the way, so they'll be a bit late. After hearing the 2 telepathic messages, Ning Fan remained silent for a while. Then he held Bright Sparrow's slender waist and flew towards the upper layer of the broken domain. Biscuit Brother is not waiting for me? Are you going to hunt for treasures with me? Bright Sparrow's face was filled with excitement. Yeah, let's go to the upper level of the broken realm. In the upper level of the broken domain, perhaps Moksha Emperor had already arranged his troops and was waiting for his arrival. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The enmity of 100 years shall be settled today. In the upper layer of the broken territory, a broken continent floated above the sea of clouds. On this continent, there was a dilapidated jade platform. On the jade platform, there was a huge sealed door of light. That door of light led directly to the first level of the heaven realm. However, as the seal had yet to be broken, no one could pass through it. The seal could only be broken by itself. Currently, there were still 3 days before the day the seal would be broken. At this moment, there were many void fragmentation realm old monsters gathered outside the door of light. Some of them were meditating with their eyes closed. Some were chatting in groups of 2 or 3, and some of them had cold and indifferent expressions. The Rain World only had 2 void fragmentation realm experts, Ning Fan and Bright Sparrow. There were quite a lot of void fragmentation realm experts from the other 8 worlds. The number of people who came could also slightly tell the overall strength of this world. 3 people from the Tree World came. All of them were from the Lu Palace, including Lu Huang, Lu Haoyue. No one from the Bamboo Palace came. Because of the chaos in the Vine Palace, the Bamboo Palace's strength had been greatly damaged. Even until now, the Bamboo Sovereign was still recuperating from his injuries. 3 old monsters from the Sword World came. None of them were at the Sovereign level. They were the elders of the 3 palaces of the Sword World. At this moment, they were chatting and laughing. 11 void fragmentation realm old monsters from the Mountain World came. Among them, 7 old ancestor of the Western Mountain Palace was included. 15 void fragmentation realm old monsters from the Earth Immortal World came. 2 of them were at the 7th level of the Broken Realm. 12 void fragmentation realm old monsters from the Fire World came. 1 of them was at the 7th level of the Broken Realm. 44 void fragmentation realm experts from the Demon World came. The Old Yuan Sovereign had yet to arrive, but the Old Fox Sovereign and the Old Crimson Sovereign had all arrived. Among the 10 great demon sovereigns, the Fox Sovereign, the Ape Sovereign, the Snake Sovereign and the Green Sovereign had come. The remaining demon sovereigns had yet to arrive. 49 void fragmentation realm experts from the Heaven Immortal World came. 1 of them was a rogue immortal. As for the 3 world sect, they had sent out all their void fragmentation realm experts. There were a total of 11 of them, including the new sect master of the 3 worlds, Gu Dao. Gu Dao's eyes were extremely cold. He was waiting for Ning Fan's arrival. He had already received the news that Ning Fan would come to the ancient heavenly court this time. and he would only bring a rogue immortal with him. This was the best opportunity to ambush Ning Fan. 55 void fragmentation realm experts from the devil world came. All 4 of the rogue devil old ancestors of the devil world came. 4 of the devil sovereigns also came. At this moment, Moksha sovereign's eyes were cold. He was also waiting for Ning Fan's arrival. He had issued a duel invitation, inviting Ning Fan to have a fair battle, without relying on external forces. However, there was no such thing as fairness in the cultivation world. No one knew that Moksha Sovereign had invited 2 rogue devils from the ancient devil's abyss in the upper world to help him. With 2 rogue devil experts, killing Ning Fan was almost guaranteed. At first, he wanted to ask the White Devil sect for help. However, what made him angry was that the sect did not even bother to help him. Moreover, there was even a junior of the White Devil sect who mocked and ridiculed him with extremely disdainful words. It made Moksha Sovereign feel extremely humiliated. In the past, the White Devil sect was just using him to lure him to deal with the old devil. After that, they kicked him aside and ignored him. White Devil sect. Humph. It's as detestable as the Black Devil sect. If I break through to the true immortal realm one day, and become a heaven devil, I will wash the White Devil sect with blood to wash away the humiliation today. The young Moksha Sovereign and the old Moksha Sovereign stood side by side. Their eyes were filled with undisguised killing intent. Both of them fixed their eyes in the direction of the broken domain in the lower layer, as if they were waiting for someone, and wanted to kill someone. This had aroused the interest of many old monsters. Some well-informed old monsters knew that Moksha Sovereign had 3 bodies. However, they only saw 2 of them today. Rumor had it that Moksha Sovereign's 3rd body was destroyed by someone. It seemed like it was true. Moksha Sovereign's eyes were filled with killing intent. Who did he want to kill? Could it be the person who destroyed his 3rd body? What a pity! What a pity! According to the rumors, if Moksha Sovereign combines his 3 bodies, he could reach the 8th break realm in a short period of time. His strength could be ranked among the top 10 in the devil world. Now that he had lost his 3rd body, his cultivation base could at most reach the peak of the 6th break realm in a short period of time. Many 7th and 8th break realm old monsters stared at Moksha Sovereign without hesitation. Their eyes were filled with a gloating expression. They were not afraid of Moksha Sovereign. Being stared at by the crowd, Moksha Sovereign became even more furious. His hatred towards Ning Fan also became stronger. Ning Fan. Ning Fan. Ning Fan. I didn't expect that a harmonious spirit realm kid from 100 years ago could actually destroy my current body. Letting an enemy in one day will cause trouble for several generations. This time, I must eliminate this kid. Otherwise, there will be endless troubles in the future. Suddenly, the young Moksha Sovereign's eyes turned ferocious. He felt an incomparably familiar chi rushing towards him from the lower layer of the broken domain. It was Ning Fan. Moreover, there was only one 1st break realm cultivator, who came with Ning Fan. Humph! You're finally here. Moksha Sovereign sneered. Many old monsters shifted their gaze towards the lower layer of the broken domain at the same time. Most of them were void fragmentation realm experts from the 3 middle realms and the 3 lower realms. They still attached great importance to the new Rain Sovereign. From the hidden rain intent of the newcomer, they vaguely guessed that this person was the evil Cloud Rain Sovereign who had risen to fame recently. As for the old ancestors of the rogue immortals, rogue demons and rogue devils, they would not pay any attention to Ning Fan. Very few cultivators who were at the 7th and 8th break realm would pay much attention to Ning Fan. Even if the Rain World had one more expert at the 8th and 7th break realm, Ning Fan himself was just at the 2nd break realm. Even if he had the strength to kill a 5th break realm expert, he was not worth the attention of experts who were above the 7th break realm. Of course, Sect Master Gu Dao of the 3 Worlds sect and old ancestor Shishan were exceptions. When they saw Ning Fan's arrival, their eyes turned cold. As for Lu Haoyue, his eyes lit up when he sensed Ning Fan's chi. Brother Ning is finally here. At the next moment, a ray of black traveling light broke through the sea of clouds and landed on the jade platform outside the light door. Then it turned into 2 figures. They were a young man in white robes and a young lady who wore a crown. They were Ning Fan and Ming Kei. No one noticed that when the 2 of them arrived, There was an old man wearing a gray cloak in an inconspicuous corner. His eyes flashed. Both of his eyes were unfathomably deep like a bottomless abyss. Is he the Rain Sovereign Ning Fan? Some of the old monsters examined Ning Fan carefully, but they could not see through his cultivation base. They only knew that he was wearing a magic treasure that could conceal his cultivation base. Some of the old monsters who were at the 7th and 8th break realm also could not see through Ning Fan's cultivation base. The eyes of the 4 rogue devils, 2 rogue demons and 1 rogue immortal lit up and looked at Ning Fan. They could not see through Ning Fan's cultivation base as well. However, they knew that Ning Fan did not rely on external objects to conceal his qi. It was the Tao mark of life and death in his body. All of a sudden, the 7 rogue immortal old monsters began to pay attention to Ning Fan. After all, Ning Fan's comprehension of the Tao of life and death was above all of them. Perhaps only the old Yuan sovereign who was rumored to be about to become an immortal could surpass Ning Fan's current comprehension of the Tao of life and death. This young man is not simple. But why do I feel a strange sense of familiarity from him? The old Crimson Sovereign muttered to himself. Oh, I also have the same feeling as if I have seen this young man somewhere before. The old Fox Sovereign said doubtfully. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the hundreds of old monsters at the scene. Finally, his eyes fell on Moksha Sovereign. Even though the appearance of the young Moksha Sovereign and the old Moksha Sovereign were different from the Moksha Sovereign in Ning Fan's memory, their qi was exactly the same. Ning Fan would certainly not be mistaken. Ning Fan, have you come to accept my challenge? Do you dare to fight me to the death? The 2 bodies of Moksha Sovereign sneered at the same time. Why wouldn't I dare? Han Nietian, do you know how long I have waited for this day? Ning Fan closed his eyes. Memories flashed through his mind. When he opened his eyes again, the coldness in his eyes was like ice that would never melt for eternity. When the old monsters present saw Ning Fan going against Moksha Sovereign, as soon as he arrived and recalled the monstrous killing intent in Moksha Sovereign's eyes, all of them could tell what was going on. Before the seal of the 33 heavens is lifted, the 2 of them would probably have to fight to the death. Alright, let's see who is stronger, the infamous Moksha Sovereign of the Devil World or the infamous Evil Cloud Rain Sovereign. This battle can be a pastime for everyone while they wait for the seal to be lifted. Brother Ning, do you need help? Lu Haoyue suddenly stepped forward and asked Ning Fan with a smile. If Ning Fan needed help, he would fight to the death even if he was no match for Moksha Sovereign. No need. Brother Lu, please take care of Ming Ke for me. Don't let the fluctuations of our battle hurt her. Ning Fan asked Ming Ke to stay with the cultivators from the tree world temporarily to avoid being left alone. The 2 bodies of Moksha Sovereign sneered. They rose into the sky and drew a line with their devil fingers. Dark clouds immediately covered the sea of clouds and devil qi filled the sky. This was the battlefield between him and Ning Fan. The young Moksha Sovereign and the old Moksha Sovereign took a step forward and combined into one, turning into the young Moksha Sovereign. After the 2 of them combined, Moksha Sovereign's cultivation base leaped to the peak of the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Moksha Sovereign raised his palm and used the soul extraction technique to draw the soul of the earth. All of a sudden, his cultivation base rose to the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. I'm afraid Moksha Sovereign has a higher chance of winning. Seeing Moksha Sovereign using a secret technique to raise his cultivation base to the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, some old monsters could not help but speculate. Even though there was only a slight difference between the peak 6th realm and the 7th realm, this slight difference was like the difference between heaven and earth. After breaking through to the 7th realm, Moksha Sovereign's combat power was something that even Gu Dao of the Three Worlds sect and the old ancestor of the mountain world did not dare to underestimate. On the other hand, Ning Fan was only at the 2nd realm. Even if he had secret techniques and abilities that allowed him to kill a 5th realm expert, it would be difficult for him to defeat a 7th realm expert. Brother Biscuit, do your best. Beat this Han Yinxue to the ground. Ming Ke waved her fists and cheered for him. She could not even say Moksha Sovereign's name correctly. Her cheers made many old monsters unable to hold back their laughter. However, it also ignited the flames of anger in Moksha Sovereign's heart. If he wants to eliminate Ning Fan, he must kill Ming Ke. The reason why he asked the experts of the ancient devil's abyss to help him was because he was worried that Ning Fan might have reinforcements. Now that Ning Fan was going to fight alone without asking for help, Moksha Sovereign naturally would not be afraid of him. Ning Fan, go to the Sea of Clouds and accept your death. Moksha Sovereign shouted coldly. His voice carried the aura force of the seventh realm. Like thunder, it exploded in the sea of consciousness of the cultivators below the third realm, causing their faces to turn pale. Their eyes were filled with shock. Ning Fan did not say much. Why should he? His heart was so quiet and his eyes were so cold. He had waited for 100 years and cultivated bitterly for 100 years just for this day. He would kill Moksha Sovereign, the traitor of his master, to avenge the old devil. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Ning Fan's steps were slow as he walked towards the peak of the Sea of Clouds. Every step he took was like a leisurely stroll. However, every step he took could transmit the sound of his heartbeat to everyone on the scene. The heartbeat of the old monsters on the scene gradually synchronized with Ning Fan's heartbeat. Their breathing began to become uncontrollable. The low-level void fragmentation realm experts' eyes were filled with shock. Ning Fan's ability was even more powerful than Moksha Sovereign's thunderclap. Those 7th realm, 8th realm and rogue immortals' eyes were filled with shock, as if they had seen an unbelievable scene. Together in life and death. Only they could see that every step Ning Fan took was on the path of life and death. Although his steps were not perfect, he was able to step on the path of life and death. Ning Fan was already not far away from breaking through life and death. This kid. The old Red Emperor and the old Fox Emperor were so shocked that they could not speak a word. Among the cultivators in the mortal world that they had seen in their lives, the old Yuan Emperor was the only one who could step on life and death. Step on life and death. Impossible. Moksha Sovereign's eyes were extremely gloomy. He had not even achieved the Tao unification of his primordial spirit, but Ning Fan was already stepping on life and death. Could it be that his aptitude was so much worse than Ning Fan's? Comprehending life and death. This was not something that the old devil could help Ning Fan with. Only Ning Fan himself could achieve this step. Even if you have achieved this step, you are only at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. You are still inferior to me. Moksha Sovereign harumphed coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, his face was filled with disbelief. Who told you that I am only at the 2nd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm? Ning Fan took a step on the Sea of Clouds and suddenly released the aura force of the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Next, black and white changed. He was clad in black robes and his cultivation base had reached the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He raised his palm and sucked the great earth soul and void soul, devouring their souls as if they were his stomach. His cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. With a single step, he disappeared without a trace. With the next step, he instantly appeared in front of Moksha Sovereign. With a punch, Moksha Sovereign was sent flying while coughing out blood. Moksha Sovereign's face was filled with disbelief. Countless old monsters at the scene were shocked. That punch was not fancy at all. The reason why Moksha Sovereign was sent flying so easily was because of the suppression of his cultivation base. Ning Fan's current cultivation base was higher than Moksha Sovereign. In the past, Ning Fan was completely suppressed by Moksha Sovereign when he was only at the harmonious spirit realm. After that, Ning Fan killed one of Moksha Sovereign's 3 bodies with the strength of a rogue devil. Today was Ning Fan's first time completely suppressing Moksha Sovereign with his own strength. 100 years later, he had already stepped on Moksha Sovereign. Chapter 673. Moksha Sovereign clenched his fists tightly, his expression extremely ugly. The feeling of being stepped on by an ant that could be squashed to death in the past was more painful than death. Fast, too fast, Ning Fan, who had unleashed his full combat power, was as fast as lightning and his body was as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye his punch landed. Even he did not have the time to defend himself. All of his energy was concentrated in that one punch, causing Moksha Sovereign's internal organs to be severely injured. But who was Moksha Emperor? He had cultivated the Nirvana scripture and was a strong warrior at the sixth sky of Nirvana realm. His recovery speed was extremely fast. In just a few breaths, 70 to 80% of the internal organs that were injured by Ningfan had recovered. Nirvana scripture. Ningfan's eyes narrowed. This technique could be considered as one of the more powerful immemorial devil arts. Moksha's sovereign had his eyes on this technique, which was why he betrayed the old devil. However, this cultivation technique was not the strongest, and not all injuries could be healed on their own. For example, injuries caused by the Tao of life and death. The devil chi around Moksha's sovereign soared into the sky. Suddenly, he turned into a 300,000 feet tall white skeleton giant. The white skeleton giant's body was surrounded by nirvana chi that was as heavy as a mountain. It was a great divine ability that used flesh and blood to transform into nirvana. Since his magic power and cultivation base were weaker than Ningfan's, he would suppress Ningfan with his physical body. Virtual technique, Great Desolation Fist. As soon as the giant's fist light moved, the entire broken realm began to shake. Countless broken continents nearby were shattered. This dilapidated land was filled with a desolate aura. This aura was the source of the art's power. Without saying a word, the giant leaned forward and threw a punch at Ningfan's head. With the current level of Ningfan's physical body, it was certainly impossible for him to take this punch head-on. However, why would he need to? All of a sudden, a gigantic vortex that stretched for 10,000 li appeared beneath Ningfan's feet. The vortex produced a boundless suction force that was strong enough to suck Moksha Emperor's fist light into it. It was even strong enough to suck Moksha Emperor into it, turning him into a pool of pus and blood. The energy condensed on the giant's fist was suddenly emptied by the sucking, becoming weak and powerless. It was difficult for this punch to land. The giant stepped on the golden vortex, and his feet began to sink into the vortex bit by bit. His expression changed drastically. Without saying a word, he immediately retreated from the giant devil idol. His heart was beating so fast that it was difficult to calm down. What kind of divine power is this? How can it give me such a dangerous feeling? With my cultivation, if I'm trapped in this technique, I'll definitely die. Moksha Sovereign was extremely shocked. Spatial vortex. It's the golden vortex realm's spatial vortex. On the side of the heaven immortal world, many old monsters recognized Ningfan's ability. All of them were shocked and looked at the Three Worlds sect. The expression of the sect master of the Three Realms Gu Dao was extremely ugly. Since the death of the previous sect master, no one in the Three Realms sect was able to cultivate the vortex technique to the golden whirlpool stage. He couldn't do it, and no one else could. However, Ningfan, who was the one who killed and seized the technique, did it. I can't be wrong. This technique was snatched from the previous sect master. He was merely a person who had stolen the technique, but his mastery of the vortex technique was above all of the Three Realms sect's experts. What kind of humiliation was this? With Ningfan's current cultivation base, it was still possible for him to kill a cultivator at the 6th level of the Broken Realm by relying on the spatial vortex technique. However, it would be extremely difficult for him to kill a cultivator at the 7th level of the Broken Realm. If the 7 shattering fragments were prepared in advance, it would not be effective. Just now, when Moksha Emperor attacked, he forgot to defend himself. That was the best time to kill him. If he wanted to improve the power of the whirlpool technique, he would have to devour the small Kiliacosm treasures and enhance the power of his heavenly abode. Moksha Sovereign retreated over 10,000 miles away. Suddenly, silver light shone brightly beneath his feet. He took a step forward and shattered the whirlpool created by the vortex technique. Without saying a word, he raised his hand and pointed a finger. The light from his finger turned into a 10,000 zhang large finger of devil flames, attacking Ningfan from the sky. This technique was indeed powerful, but he was already prepared for it. He knew that he wouldn't be ambushed by this technique again. Break. Ningfan casually pointed a finger at Moksha Sovereign. A ray of light shot out from his finger, shattered Moksha Sovereign's giant devil flame finger. Then his 10 fingers formed a seal. Countless white lines coiled around his left index finger, and countless black lines coiled around his right index finger. Both of his fingers pointed out at the same time. Millions upon millions of black Dao threads with sharp glints pierced towards Moksha Sovereign. Above Moksha Sovereign's head, there was a huge fishing net that was weaved by white Dao threads. It was over 10,000 feet in size, and it was falling towards Moksha Sovereign. They were the primordial fishing line and the good fortune fishing net, the two life and death arts. The power of this technique depended on one's life and death cultivation. With Ning Fan's comprehension of the Tao of life and death, the two techniques which were originally ordinary were now filled with endless killing intent. Life and death art. Moksha Sovereign's expression changed greatly. He raised his hand and took out a black devil scissors magic treasure. The magic treasure grew in the wind and turned into a giant pair of scissors. It cut the incoming black Dao threads into pieces, and cut the white fishing net into two pieces. This pair of scissors was called the Black Devil Scissors. It was a protective magic treasure that the old devil had once given to him. It could cut Dao power into pieces. It could even protect himself against life immortal realm experts. After harming the old devil, he still had the face to use the magic treasure that the old devil gave him to save his life. He was really shameless. Ning Fan's eyes were burning with anger. He could see the emblem of the Black Devil sect on the Black Devil scissors. He could even feel that the old devil had once sacrificed his blood to refine this treasure. The Tao threads of life and death that filled the sky fell like snowflakes, giving off a desolate beauty. After breaking two of Ning Fan's techniques, Moksha Sovereign's expression became slightly better. He looked at the Black Devil scissors in his hand and sneered. Then he suddenly threw it towards Ning Fan. If Han Yuanji knows that the magic treasure that he personally refined has killed his last disciple, I wonder how he would feel. The giant scissors opened and closed, trying to cut Ning Fan's waist into two halves. The scissors were extremely sharp. Even the physical body of an 8th heavenly layer Nirvana realm expert would not be able to defend against its attack. Keep. Ning Fan suddenly raised his finger. A golden vortex suddenly appeared in front of the Black Devil scissors. He wanted to forcefully take away this treasure. With his current cultivation base, forcefully taking away the Black Devil scissors would be very difficult for him. He would definitely suffer from the backlash of the spatial vortex technique. However, he could not bear to see Moksha Sovereign flaunting the old devil's treasure. His face suddenly turned pale as if the backlash was not small. A mouthful of sweet blood rushed to his throat, but he forcefully swallowed it. Then he fiercely pointed his finger, and a second giant vortex appeared outside the golden vortex. It forcefully sucked the Black Devil scissors into his natal heavenly dwelling. How dare you take away my natal treasure? You're courting death. You're the one who's courting death. Life and death. Even if you cut it into pieces, it's still life and death. Don't you know that? As Ning Fan made a hand seal, countless Tao lines of life and death that resembled snowflakes immediately pierced through Moksha Sovereign's body from all directions with sharp glints, leaving countless needle-sized wounds on his body. The wounds were not big, but the injuries that they caused to Moksha Sovereign were too severe. Moreover, these injuries were caused by the Tao power of life and death. It was not something that Moksha Sovereign could heal on his own. Puff! Moksha Sovereign coughed out a mouthful of black blood. He took out a Black Devil talisman and stuck it on his chest. Relying on this devil talisman, the devil chi in his body shook and shattered all the Tao lines of life and death. It was an immortal talisman realm devil talisman. It was crafted by a talisman crafting grandmaster in the ancient devil's abyss. His hair was disheveled, his body was covered with wounds and black blood. His devil armor was tattered. Even though Moksha Sovereign managed to keep his life, he was in a terrible state and his injuries were too severe. I really hate that I didn't kill you in the past. His eyes flickered with monstrous hatred. I also hate myself for not having the ability to kill you in the past. Today, however, I can make up for this regret. Ning Fan's eyes were also cold. I didn't join the White Demon sect, but I won the favor of a grand ancestor from the ancient demon's lock. I have a secret treasure from the grand ancestor, so I won't lose to you. Demon summoning talisman. Summon the spirit of the demon dragon. Moksha Sovereign seemed to have gone mad. He took out 2 immortal grade devil talismans and tossed them towards the sky. The devil talismans ignited with raging black flames and turned into ashes one by one. The moment the two talismans burned out, two black demonic dragons appeared at the peak of the Sea of Clouds. These two devil dragons were at the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. After summoning these two devil dragons, Moksha Emperor was 100% sure that he could kill Ningfan. It's the summoning talisman unique to the ancient demon's lock. The 4 rogue demon ancestral patriarchs were shocked. 8 shattering devil dragons, and there are 2 of them. That evil cloud rain sovereign is in danger. Some of the low-level void fragmentation realm experts revealed a shocked expression. Ningfan quietly looked at the 2 devil dragons. His eyes were cold. When he stared at the 2 dragons, they actually felt a sense of fear that they had never felt before. It was as if the 2 dragons would die on the spot with just a single thought from Ningfan. Kill him. Moksha Sovereign changed his hand seal and urged the devil dragons to attack. The eyes of the 2 devil dragons turned blank. Each of them let out a devil roar and opened their gigantic mouths. A vortex of devil chi was formed in each of their mouths. They were accumulating power to let out a sure-kill devil dragon roar, trying to kill Ningfan with a single strike. Ningfan sneered and took out a purple golden fishing rod with a flip of his hand. At the moment the purple golden fishing rod appeared, all the void fragmentation realm experts of the demon world, including the 2 rogue demon ancestral patriarchs, were shocked. Bai Mu. He is Bai Mu. Bai Mu is the evil cloud rain sovereign. Qi Ningfan raised his hand. The fishing rod turned into a purple golden snake spear and pierced towards the 2 black dragons. The 2 rays of purple light easily penetrated the 2 dragons' dragon scales and pierced their devil cores at an unimaginable speed. The devil roar attack that was brewing in their mouths gradually disappeared. The life force of the 2 dragons also gradually disappeared. Their eyes were filled with deep fear when they looked at Ningfan. With a loud bang, the bodies of the 2 dragons fell into the Sea of Clouds. Before they could reach the bottom of the Sea of Clouds, Ningfan shook his cauldron ring and sucked them into the ring, turning them into Nie Li's food. He instantly killed 2 8-fragment devil dragons. There's no mistake. The magic treasure in his hand is a dragon-suppressing treasure. No matter if it's a devil dragon or a demon dragon, all the dragon ancestors below the life immortal realm will die. A dragon-suppressing treasure? Isn't this the same magic treasure that old ancestor Bai Mu, whose name shook the entire demon world? I know now. The evil cloud rain sovereign is Bai Mu. He's the one who killed hundreds of yellow dragon realm experts and 3 yellow dragon loose demons all by himself. What? At this moment, no one on the scene could remain calm when facing Ningfan. Moksha Sovereign's mind went blank. He could not imagine that Ningfan would have a dragon-suppressing treasure and kill 2 great devil dragons in a row. Moreover, he could not imagine that Ningfan was Bai Mu, who had shaken the entire demon world. One should know that when Moksha Sovereign learned about Bai Mu's deeds in the demon world in the past, he was also greatly shocked. He then instructed his subordinates not to offend this person if Bai Mu enters the devil world one day. Unexpectedly, Bai Mu, whom he did not dare to offend, was actually Ningfan. What other techniques do you have? Use them all. Ningfan's eyes were blood red. His baleful chi was terrifying. The strength of his baleful chi shocked even a rogue immortal old ancestor, causing his mind to be in a mess. When this baleful chi pressed on Moksha Sovereign's body, it actually made him lose his mind for a moment. His Dao heart was easily invaded by Ningfan's baleful chi and destroyed one after another. It was as if he could see Ningfan's massacre in the past 100 years. Even Moksha Sovereign could not help but shudder in fear when he saw Ningfan's massacre. He was also a devil lord who killed without restraint. However, compared to Ningfan, the difference between him and Ningfan was like the clouds in the mud. Moksha Sovereign's back was completely drenched in cold sweat. He was unwilling to admit it, but he had no choice but to admit that he was no match for Ningfan even after exhausting all of his techniques. He was too impatient. The rogue devils of the ancient devil's abyss came too late. If they were any later, he would certainly die in Ningfan's hands. I have no choice but to go all out. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out a pill which emitted cold chi and swallowed it. This pill was given to him by the White Devil sect in the past. The revolving will technique, Nirvana scripture, damaging ice pill. All of a sudden, Moksha sovereign seemed to have turned into a man of ice. The cold chi that was spreading out from his body was frightening. It's the secret 8th revolution pill of the White Devil sect in the upper world. Damaging ice pill. Damaging his own reputation in exchange for the coldness of ice. Moksha sovereign is going all out this time. The rogue immortal from the heaven immortal world said with a frown. Ning Fan kept his Tai Gong fishing rod. Black devil flames danced in his eyes. Within the devil flames, there were shadows of lotuses. His Tao of life and death had already reached a profound level. With just a glance, he could tell that Moksha sovereign was currently sacrificing his lifespan in exchange for the power of ice in an attempt to display the killing ice technique. Moksha sovereign reached out both of his hands and drew an ice circle in front of him. What he displayed was his strongest ability, the revolving will technique. When this technique is cultivated to its peak, it could reflect all attacks under the immortal technique, and even kill rogue immortals with ice. Unfortunately, Moksha sovereign had only cultivated up to the 14th level of the revolving will technique out of the 18 levels. Even if he consumed the damaging ice pill, he could only display the 17th level of the revolving will technique at most, which was enough to instantly kill an 8-shattering realm cultivator. The biggest mistake I've made in my life is that I made a wrong decision which led me to a dangerous situation. Ning Fan, prepare to die. Revolving will technique, 17 levels of the ice prison. Chi-chi. Chi-chi that the entire sky was completely frozen in an instant. The sound of ice condensing could be heard from beneath Ning Fan's feet. All of a sudden, his vision turned black and he was trapped in layers of ice. It was a gigantic ice tower with 17 levels. It had sealed Ning Fan within it. A 7-shattering realm cultivator would directly freeze to death in the tower. An 8-shattering realm cultivator would also definitely freeze to death after the ice tower rotates 17 times. Even if a rogue immortal cultivator of the 9-shattering realm could destroy this tower, he would also be severely injured by the cold chi. Moksha sovereign laughed heartily. He knew that if he was in Ning Fan's shoes and was trapped in the ice tower, he would certainly be killed instantly. He did not believe that Ning Fan could break the tower. Even if Ning Fan cultivated devil flames, it was unlikely that his devil flames would be enough to break the tower's cold chi. First revolution. Second revolution. Third revolution. Moksha sovereign frantically formed a series of hand seals. As his hand seals changed, the gigantic ice tower in the Palace of the Sea of Clouds began to rotate slowly. Each time it rotated, its cold chi would increase by a few times. All the cultivators at the scene were shocked. Even the 7 rogue immortal old ancestors wore fearful expressions. They did not expect that Moksha sovereign, who was in a desperate situation, could actually display such a terrifying ability. Lu Haoyue wore an extremely worried expression. He had regarded Ning Fan as his confidant. He could not bear to see Ning Fan in danger without doing anything. However, he also knew that he could not do anything in the face of this ice tower's ability. His cultivation base was only at the 5-shattering realm. Even Ming Kei felt a little nervous. Every time the ice tower rotated, her heart would clench fiercely. She had always had endless confidence in Ning Fan. However, she could not remain calm at this moment. It was because this technique was too powerful. Brother Biscuit, if you die, I won't live anymore. Just as that thought flashed through her mind, the mysterious gray-robed old man who was far away immediately felt a sharp pain in his sea of consciousness. He sighed continuously. Looking at the ice tower, he shook his head and muttered to himself. Fine. If this rain sovereign is in danger, I will save him. That devil sovereign has the devil summoning talisman of the summoned river old ancestor of the ancient devil's abyss, and the ice pill and revolving technique of the northern heaven white devil sect. He probably has a close relationship with these two great forces. But so what? The summoned river sect and the white devil sect are nothing in my eyes. Ning Fan, who was trapped in the ice tower, was not injured at all. The steel of sun and moon had completely devoured the Tao Lotus immortal flame. However, Ning Fan still could not use this immortal flame as he wished. Now, with the help of the cold chi entering his body, Ning Fan caused the immortal flame to compete with the cold chi and gradually subdued the immortal flame. An 8th grade spiritual flame was an immortal flame. the Devil Flame, and the Tao Lotus Immortal Flame slowly fused. The power of the flame had almost reached the peak of a low-grade 8th-grade Immortal Flame. With this flame protecting him, even if the ice tower rotates for the 18th time, it would not be able to freeze Ning Fan. 15 revolutions, 16 revolutions, 17 revolutions. Moksha Sovereign's magic power in the outside world was almost depleted. However, Ning Fan, who was inside the tower, was brewing an increasingly terrifying flame. Ning Fan should already be dead. Moksha Sovereign heaved a sigh of relief. At the next moment, his eyes were filled with shock. A gigantic black fire diagram suddenly appeared under the ice tower. Countless butterfly shadows flew out of the fire diagram and easily melted the ice pagoda into mist and disappeared. At the moment when the ice tower melted into mist, a black-robed young man appeared in front of everyone while stepping on the fire diagram. In the vast sky, a gigantic fire butterfly with a pair of huge wings appeared out of nowhere. At the moment when the fire butterfly appeared, all the rogue immortals at the scene felt their hearts skip a beat. This technique isn't an immortal technique. However, its power is no less than an immortal technique. Once this technique is activated, it can instantly kill all cultivators below the 9 destruction realm. The 7 rogue immortal old ancestors sat in shock. When they took a closer look at the flames in the fire diagram, their expressions changed. Immortal Flame. With this flame, this technique can severely injure rogue immortals. Moksha Sovereign looked at the gigantic fire butterfly, and his body trembled uncontrollably. He had a premonition that he would die the moment the fire butterfly spread its wings. Ning Fan's face turned pale rapidly. With his current cultivation base, he could already display the complete void-burning butterfly flame technique. However, due to the limitation of his cultivation base, the power of this technique still had room for improvement. Due to the limitation of his comprehension, this technique could still be perfected into an immortal technique one day. The complete display of the void-burning butterfly flame technique was a huge burden on Ning Fan. It was enough to incinerate ordinary 8 destruction realm cultivators. When this technique was infused with the power of the immortal flame, no one below the rogue immortal realm could survive from this technique. Of course, one could imagine the enormous burden on Ning Fan by infusing the immortal flame. His body was faintly unable to withstand the backlash of this technique. There were signs of his physical body collapsing. However, he had to display this technique. No matter what, he must avenge the old devil. No matter what, Moksha Sovereign must die. His eyes were filled with a crazy obsession. Even if his physical body was going to collapse, he would still use this technique. This was a kind of obsession, an obsession that could not be missed when executing the Void Ignition Butterfly Flame technique. Ning Fan lifted his finger and gently pointed at Moksha Sovereign. There was an indescribable mysterious feeling when he pointed at Moksha Sovereign. The giant butterfly in the sky flapped its wings at this moment. In just an instant, it flapped its wings 12 times consecutively. A sense of imminent death rose in Moksha Sovereign's heart. I can't escape. I can't hide from it. His eyes were filled with panic. He summoned his devil armor to protect his body. He raised his hands and took out 7 peak Immortal Void Realm defensive magic treasures and 42 defensive devil talismans. Unfortunately, these devil talismans were not immortal talismans. Otherwise, they might be able to resist the void burning technique. However, he was still not confident. He took out 3 dazzling formation discs and activated all of them. All of a sudden, a peak Immortal Void Realm defensive formation was activated at the outermost layer. He used both of his hands to draw circles of ice. He tried to display the revolving wheel technique, to slightly resist the power of the void-burning butterfly flame technique. I don't want to die. I haven't become a heavenly devil yet. I'm not willing to die like this. He roared in a frenzy. The terrifying fluctuation of his battle technique made all the void fragmentation realm experts' expressions change. All of them retreated several million li. Ming Ke also retreated. However, she was still worried about whether Ning Fan's last attack would succeed or not. Brother Biscuit, please win. You must be safe and sound. Void burning technique. 2 faint words echoed in the sky for a long time. The black smoke of extinguishing flames covered the entire heaven and earth. The shattered continents turned into ashes one by one. The three-peak immortal void realm grand formations that Moksha's sovereign summoned turned into ashes. 42 devil talisman barriers turned into ashes. 7-peak immortal void realm defensive magic treasures turned into ashes. Moksha sovereign's protective devil armor turned into ashes in an instant. His revolving wheel technique was directly broken by the void-burning flame smoke. Under the backlash, all of his devil veins were destroyed. Before he could recover, his physical body, primordial spirit, and everything about him were buried under the butterfly flame. No. Moksha sovereign's miserable and unwilling cry resounded across the entire broken domain. Countless low-grade cultivators who were searching for treasures were terrified when they heard the miserable cry. This shriek indicated that a cultivator with an earth-shaking cultivation base had died in the upper broken realm. Some divine transformation realm and void refinement realm old monsters who wanted to try their luck in the upper layer turned pale. I can't go to the upper layer of the broken domain. It's too dangerous. After dispersing the flame diagram and the butterfly flame, Ningfan's body was filled with weakness. He walked towards the place where Moksha Sovereign died. There, Moksha Sovereign's storage pouch was burnt. Countless items that he carried with him were destroyed by the void-burning butterfly flame technique. Only 2 blackened jade slips were still floating in the air. Nirvana Scripture. These jade slips were made of immortal-grade materials. They were not destroyed. Ningfan kept the 2 jade slips without saying anything. It was one thing whether he cultivated the Nirvana Scripture or not. Since he had obtained this scripture, he naturally had to take it away. His eyes were blank for a moment. He did not feel the joy of avenging himself. Instead, he felt a little lost. Moksha Sovereign was the motivation for him to cultivate diligently for the past 100 years. When Moksha Sovereign died, he seemed to have lost his goal. From a certain perspective, if Moksha Sovereign was not a powerful enemy, Ningfan would not cultivate so desperately. The group of void fragmentation realm old monsters felt the fluctuations of the battle gradually subsiding and rushed back. When they saw Ningfan winning and Moksha Sovereign dying, some of them sighed with emotion and some of them looked at Ningfan with great respect. Suddenly, Ningfan's expression changed. Without saying a word, a golden vortex formed under his feet. He disappeared from his original spot and reappeared in another place in the blink of an eye. The place where he was standing just now was slashed by a black crescent moon. Then, a furious roar resounded in the sky. Damn it! We are too late. You actually killed Han Yetian. How are we going to explain this to the old ancestor of the summoned river? You deserve to die. As soon as his voice fell, 2 devil-armored old men appeared at the peak of the sea of clouds. They glared at Ningfan with intense killing intent. They were the helpers that Moksha Sovereign invited. Unfortunately, they were too late. Moksha Sovereign was already dead. I'm sorry. I'm also late. Brother Chu, Brother Gu. It's really regretful that the 3 of us couldn't kill Han Yetian with our own hands. As soon as his voice fell, 3 more figures landed beside Ningfan. One of them was Wei Xian while the other 2 were rogue immortals. Who are you? Are you trying to stop our summoned river sect from doing our job? The 2 devil-armored old men shouted coldly. So what if you're the summoned river sect? It's far away in the ancient devil's abyss. What does it have to do with me? The rogue immortal with the surname Chu burst into laughter while the rogue immortal with the surname Gu formed a sword seal with his fingers. He remained silent. The flying swords in the sword case on his back were clanging noisily. They looked like they would start a fight if there was any disagreement. I'm sorry. I'm late. You can go and have a rest. I'll help you settle the rest. Wei Xian patted Ningfan's shoulder. His eyes flashed with astonishment. The current Ningfan really surprised him. With his cultivation base at the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, he could kill Moksha Sovereign with his full combat power. Old Man Han really took in a good disciple. The summoned river sect of the ancient devil's abyss, 2 rogue immortals, and a deacon of the 4 heavens from the northern heaven immortal world. I wonder who will win this battle. The void fragmentation realm old monsters who had some knowledge on the scene fell silent. In the next moment, The two devil-armored old men directly attacked and exchanged blows with Chu and Gu. Just as they were exchanging blows, one of the two devil-armored old men with green hair suddenly sneered and said, "My friends here, is there anyone who can help my summoned river sect to kill Ning Fan? I'll report to the sect later. The person who kills Ning Fan will be rewarded with 50 million Dao crystals." 50 million Dao crystals. As soon as they heard that there would be such a great reward, many of the old monsters' eyes were filled with killing intent. The ape sovereign, Gu Dao and old ancestor Western Mountain took a step forward, looking like they were going to attack Ning Fan. The snake sovereign licked his lips and ordered the three delicate snake ladies behind him to hide themselves. They would wait for an opportunity to ambush Ning Fan and seize his corpse. It was probably impossible to capture Ning Fan alive and turn him into a human cauldron. Hence, she would seize his corpse and return to the palace to pluck his flesh. It would also be a wonderful thing. It would definitely improve her cultivation base. Some unknown old monsters secretly took a step forward, preparing to attack Ning Fan from all sides. They were waiting for an opportunity to kill Ning Fan and obtain the reward of 50 million Dao crystals. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. There were at least 20 people who dared to target him with killing intent. There were no rogue immortal old monsters among them. They would not recklessly intervene in the dispute between the two forces for the sake of the Dao crystals. However, there were a few of them who were at the Eight Broken Realm. Ning Fan, who was currently in a weakened state, was no match for them. However, what did he have to be afraid of? "Those who want to kill me for the reward, get out here. All of you come at me together." His hand pressed on the devil sealing pouch. Chapter 674. All of you come at me together. Why would I be afraid? Ning Fan placed his hand on the devil sealing pouch and strode forward. His eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. There were more than 20 people present who wanted to kill him. There were at least 40 of them. However, some of them were still observing and did not dare to openly reveal their killing intent in case Ning Fan found out. At first, Wei Xian wanted to help Ning Fan. However, when his gaze fell on the devil sealing pouch on Ning Fan's waist, he seemed to have noticed something and did not make a move. Even though his cultivation base had fallen, he was once a life immortal realm expert after all. He still had some judgment, and means that he should have. He noticed that Ning Fan had a rogue devil realm devil slave in his hand. Facing this group of reckless cultivators, it would not be difficult for him to defeat them. Ming Kei's face was filled with anxiety. She could tell that there were countless people who wanted to kill Ning Fan. Even though her cultivation base was only at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, she still wanted to help Ning Fan regardless of everything. At this moment, a faint voice entered her ears. "Miss, don't worry. Your brother Biscuit still has his strongest trump card." "Who is it? Who is talking to me?" Ming Kei looked around but could not find the person who spoke. Ning Fan's battle with Moksha Sovereign had resulted in a significant backlash. His magic power was severely depleted and his body was extremely weak. However, his aura force did not decrease at all. Instead, it became even sharper and more terrifying. Some of the cultivators who wanted to take advantage of Ning Fan were discouraged when they saw how fearless he was. They gritted their teeth and gave up on the idea. The ape sovereign, Gu Dao and old ancestor Western Mountain's eyes turned grim. Each of them had a grudge against Ning Fan. Now that there was a reward of 50 million Dao crystals, it was impossible for them to let Ning Fan go. Two of them were from the devil world while the other one was from the heaven immortal world. They stepped out of the crowd and surrounded Ning Fan. Then, experts from the Three Worlds sect, Ape Hall, Western Mountain Hall, Snake Hall and some rogue old monsters stepped out of the crowd. There were a total of 25 of them. Those old monsters who did not want to get involved in the dispute of this place retreated. "Haha, I like this kid. He dares to fight a group of cultivators without fear. He has the spirit of Old Man Han." Rogue Immortal Chu laughed heartily while fighting against a devil-armored old man. "Yes, it's not bad." The taciturn Rogue Immortal Gu nodded and said to Rogue Immortal Chu via voice transmission, "If necessary, you block the two summoned river rogue devils. I'll go save him." "Okay." Loose Immortal Chu readily agreed. The two devil-armored old men of the Summoned River sect smirked coldly. They entangled Chu and Gu tightly, not giving their clones any chance to save Ningfan. From their point of view, Wei Xian's cultivation base had been reduced to 20%. It was not enough for him to save Ningfan. Currently, Ningfan was too weak to fight against a group of cultivators. With the reward of 50 million Dao crystals, Ningfan would definitely die under the blades of the group of cultivators. No one would be able to save him. As long as you kill this child, you can more or less give Ancestor an explanation, and also let the two of us have a lighter punishment. Just as the green-haired loose devil had this thought, his expression suddenly changed. The Chu and Gu duo were slightly surprised, and all the cultivators present were shocked. The 31 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters who were besieging Ningfan instantly revealed an expression of extreme fear. At this moment, Ningfan opened the pouch. At this moment, a black mist rushed into the sky and turned into a gigantic demonic creature. Loose devil. Big head. Do you know who you want to kill? Ningfan asked coldly. I know. You must kill anyone who shows killing intent towards you, right? Wait. I'm not called Big Head. The loose devil protested endlessly. Although his head was a little huge as a devil creature. Although one of his divine abilities was indeed to transform into a giant skull, it was impossible for him to do so. However, he really did not like the name Big Head. Big Head Loose Devil. The evil Cloud Rain Sovereign actually has a big head loose devil. This is bad. As soon as one of the 5 old monsters of the mountain world saw the appearance of the loose devil, he turned around and fled in fear. His words, however, ignited the loose devil's anger in an instant. I'm not Big Head. You're the motherfucking Big Head. Your entire family is Big Head. The loose devil threw a punch. A black mist fist light carried an earth-shattering howl, and killed the 5 old monsters who had already fled a million li away with a single punch. Then he opened his mouth and swallowed, keeping the storage pouch along with the dead body and tossing them aside. Before coming to the ancient heavenly court, Ningfan had taught him to take away the corpse and the storage pouch after killing someone. Damn it. It's actually a loose devil. It seems like we won't be able to get these 50 million Dao crystals. I'm afraid our heads will have to be handed over here. This is really bad. The 8 old monsters of the Heaven Immortal world were filled with fear. They turned around and wanted to flee. The loose devil became even more furious. Human head. Big. How dare you call me Big Head? You're the motherfucking Big Head. The loose devil's body turned into black mist and turned into a gigantic skull. Without giving the man any time to escape, it swallowed him into the skull. The ape sovereign was scared. The old ancestor of the Western Mountain was scared. Gu Dao was scared. The 2 8 Shatterer experts of the Devil World were all scared. There were only 29 Void Fragmentation Realm enemies left. Who wouldn't be afraid of a loose devil? What? What a scary skull. Ah. Big your mother's head. The skull swallowed the 6 old monsters of the Broken 6. Head. Head for our lives. One of the 4 old monsters of the Broken 4 turned around and fled. Head my ass. The skull swallowed the 4 old monsters of the Broken 4 without any hesitation. Lord, please spare my life. One of the 3 old monsters of the Broken 4 pleaded while trembling. Big your mother's head. You didn't say big? Forget it. I've already eaten him. The loose devil swallowed the 3 old monsters of the Broken 4. The loose devil seemed to have gone berserk, and began a frenzied massacre. He opened up a barrier and trapped all of Ningfan's enemies within it. Then he swallowed them one by one. 2 of the 8 Shatterer experts of the Devil World summoned their magic treasures in an attempt to resist the loose devil. However, they were swallowed along with their magic treasures. The loose devil realized that he had become stronger. Swallowing the 8 Shatterer experts of the Devil World was effortless. Ever since he followed behind old ancestor Shilan and fought against a life immortal realm expert, his strength had actually broken through several small bottlenecks and become stronger. If it wasn't for the fact that old ancestor Shilan gave him the name Big Head, he would really be grateful to old ancestor Shilan. While the loose devil was killing the group of cultivators, Ningfan did not stay idle either. He sneered and released his baleful qi. forcing the 3 snake women who were hiding beside him to reveal themselves. The 3 snake women were all at the Foreshatterer realm. They came from the Snake Palace, and were ordered by the Snake Sovereign to sneak attack Ningfan. After being forced to reveal themselves by Ningfan's baleful qi, the 3 of them were so scared that their faces turned pale. They turned around and ran. However, could they escape from him? An imprisoning rope. Ningfan pointed his finger and produced 3 imprisoning ropes. He tied the 3 of them up, and threw them into his cauldron ring. How could he not accept void fragmentation realm cauldrons that were delivered to his doorstep? You. Give me 3 cauldrons in exchange for them. The Snake Sovereign was enraged. He took out a dragon crutch magic treasure and attacked Ningfan. With just a glance, Ningfan could tell that the Snake Sovereign was a female demon who would plunder both men and women. The Snake Sovereign was the one who first released killing intent towards him. The yin and yang in this person's body were in a mess. The benefits of plucking this person were too little. Ningfan lifted his hand and pointed at the dragon crutch. His body flashed and appeared in front of the Snake Sovereign in an instant. Then he pressed his palm on the top of the Snake Sovereign's head. Bang! With just a single palm strike, the Snake Sovereign's entire body turned into a pile of minced meat. Even his demon soul was destroyed. Ningfan casually took away his storage pouch. The frailty on his face deepened, but his murderous aura became even heavier. His eyes swept across the battlefield. When he saw that there were less than 20 people left, his eyes flashed with cold light. He performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers, and a massive golden vortex appeared beneath his feet. Outside of the first golden vortex, a second vortex was formed. Outside of the second vortex, a third vortex was formed. Outside of the third vortex, there were countless other vortexes. It was the enhanced version of the spatial strangulation vortex, the infinite spatial vortex. In an instant, all the old monsters who were below the 5th level of fragmentation realm were minced into minced meat by the power of the spatial vortex. Their primordial spirits and demon souls perished. Only the ape sovereign, Gu Dao, the old ancestor of the Western Mountain, and 4 rogue cultivators of the 6th level of fragmentation realm were left alive. Ningfan felt a sharp pain in his chest and blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. He had already reached his limit. He would leave the rest to the rogue devil. Bang! 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 The rogue devil had already retreated from his skeletal body. He stomped on the ground with his 4 massive feet, directly crushing the 4 rogue cultivators into minced meat. The old ancestor of the Western Mountain was filled with regret. He regretted hating Ningfan for a mere Xiaobanji and attacking Ningfan for the reward of 50 million Dao crystals. Little friend, if you let me go, I promise you that the mountain world and the rain world will forever be allies. We will never invade each other. He roared in Ningfan's direction. He knew that begging the rogue devil for mercy was useless. The rogue devil was basically a lunatic. No need. If you die, who else in the mountain world will dare to invade my rain world? Kill. As soon as Ningfan gave the order, the rogue devil chuckled and made a grabbing motion with his large hand. He sucked the old ancestor into his palm and asked, Do you think my head is big or not? No. The old ancestor was drenched in cold sweat. His entire body was trembling. As long as the rogue devil uses his palm force, he would certainly turn into a pile of minced meat and die without an intact corpse. You're lying. Bang. The rogue devil squeezed the old ancestor to death furiously. Then he made a grabbing motion with his large hand and caught the ape sovereign. Speak. Am I a big head? The rogue devil asked angrily. The ape sovereign gritted his teeth so hard that they broke. It was really unwise to offend Ningfan for the sake of a disciple. For the sake of 50 million Dao crystals, it was even more unwise to attack Ningfan from all sides. It was all his own fault that he ended up in this situation today. He had to admit it. However, he had always been proud. Even if he was going to die, he would not beg for mercy like the old ancestor. He would not lower his head to the rogue devil and flatter him. Moreover, the old ancestor flattered the rogue devil by saying that he was not big, but he was still dead in the end. You're obviously the big head. Nonsense. You're the motherfucking big head. Bang! The rogue devil squeezed the ape sovereign to death in a fit of rage. It was as easy as squeezing a little chick to death. His gaze shifted to Gu Dao. Gu Dao's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and said, "All the experts of the Three Worlds sect are dead. Our sect only exists in name. I don't want to live any longer. However, before I die, I must drag someone down with me." Chie's silver whirlpool suddenly appeared beneath Gu Dao's feet. His figure instantly disappeared. At the next moment, he stepped on the silver whirlpool and appeared behind Ning Fan. Without saying anything, he was about to detonate his primordial spirit and perish together with Ning Fan. The self-detonation of a 7-break-old monster was really not to be underestimated. It could even severely injure an 8-break-old monster. It was already very rare to be able to force a 7-break-old monster to self-detonate. You do have some backbone. I'll use the technique of your Three Worlds sect to send you to your death. Spatial vortex. A massive golden whirlpool rose beneath Ning Fan's feet. It directly sucked Gu Dao, who had given up on defending himself, and self-detonated into his natal heavenly dwelling. With a loud bang, Gu Dao self-detonated in the space of his heavenly dwelling. His flesh and blood were devoured by the spatial vortex. His storage pouch flashed and flew into Ning Fan's hand. There was even a void fragmentation realm Dao fruit that came along with it. Ning Fan burned the broken limbs and flesh on the ground with his immortal flame. After refining the essence of their flesh and blood, he kept all of them into his cauldron world and fed them to Nieli. As for the storage pouches on the ground, they were all taken away by Ning Fan. After that, he ordered the rogue devil to remove the barrier. Big head, well done. It was obviously a compliment. However, when the rogue devil heard it, it almost made him go berserk. "You're the motherfucker." Just as he wanted to retort and scold Ning Fan, he immediately shut his mouth obediently when he met Ning Fan's cold gaze. Now that he had truly become Ning Fan's devil slave, his life and death were in Ning Fan's hands. He could scold anyone but Ning Fan. Sigh. Among the 31 void fragmentation realm experts, 3 of them were captured and turned into human cauldrons while the rest were dead. All the void fragmentation realm old monsters present were shocked. The 7 rogue immortal old ancestors were also shocked. With this rogue devil, the Rain World is no longer the lower 3 realms. It won't be an exaggeration to say that it's one of the upper 3 realms. The eyes of the 2 devil-armored old men of the Summoned River sect were filled with astonishment. Rogue Immortal Chu burst into laughter and said to Ning Fan, "Good kid. Do you want to join me and kill these 2 rogue devils of the Summoned River sect?" "I won't participate in the battle. Big head, you go." As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, the rogue devil soared into the sky. Together with Chu and Gu, they immediately formed a pincer attack. It was 3 against 2 and they had the upper hand. One of the rogue devils of the Summoned River sect was severely injured. He gritted his teeth and took out a talisman. He stuck it on his chest and disappeared without a trace. "Motherfucker." One of them escaped. "This one must stay." Rogue Immortal Chu cursed angrily. He patted his storage pouch and took out a secret treasure. He hit the other green-haired rogue devil, causing him to spurt out blood and fall to the sky. This green-haired rogue devil was the one who offered 50 million Dao crystals to kill Ning Fan. Rogue Immortal Gu did not give the green-haired rogue devil a chance to fall to the sky. He drew the heavenly light with his sword and cut the green-haired rogue devil into 2 halves. Big Head laughed and threw a punch, crushing the 2 halves of the green-haired rogue devil's body into pieces, revealing his terrified primordial spirit. You guys are really despicable. How dare you bully me with numbers?" Knowing that he was no match for them, he actually tried to play a trick. "Capture his primordial spirit alive. I want to search his soul," Ning Fan said to Rogue Immortal Ling. He was quite interested in the ancient devil's abyss. He wanted to obtain some information about it from this person's memory. "Just a piece of cake. Lock." The ancient devil pointed his finger, and the devil mist turned into a devil lock, binding the green-haired rogue devil's primordial spirit. Then he took his storage pouch. He landed on the ground and handed everything to Ning Fan. Ning Fan received the primordial spirit and kept the pouch. He turned a deaf ear to the green-haired rogue devil's curses and begging for mercy and directly searched his memories. After that, he sealed the idiotic primordial spirit. Perhaps it could be used in pill concoction in the future. Hiss! The void fragmentation realm old monsters of the devil world and the other worlds felt a chill down their spines. A rogue devil was actually besieged and captured alive. Then Ning Fan searched his memories. That was a rogue devil expert. He was one of the rare existences in the lower worlds. When the experts of the demon world saw what happened to the green-haired rogue devil, they could not help but recall the scene where Ning Fan killed the 4 yellow dragon rogue demons that day. Their eyes were filled with astonishment when they thought of the countless experts who had fallen today. Each of the old monsters looked at Ning Fan with respect. So many experts had fallen within a day. Among them were quite a number of sovereign realm experts and the old ancestors of one of the palaces. The 9 worlds were probably in a state of shock. With this person around, no one could stop the rise of the rain world. This person must not be offended. The eyes of the cloaked old man who was standing at the side flashed with a hint of surprise. You're a good junior. Unfortunately, you're not from my demon spirit land. What a pity. Ming Ke walked forward and hugged Ning Fan's arm. Her small hands were trembling. Previously, when she saw Ning Fan being besieged by so many experts, she almost lost all hope. Fortunately, it's still all right. Brother Biscuit, quickly stabilize your injuries. I'll protect you. All right. Ning Fan sat cross-legged on the ground. He casually took out a 7th revolution pill and consumed it to heal his injuries. Beside him, Wei Xian and Chu Gu were also protecting him. Among the people present, who would dare to have any evil thoughts? The old Fox Sovereign and the old Crimson Sovereign exchanged glances and sighed. They had lost another chance to befriend Ning Fan. If the two of them had helped Ning Fan when he was besieged just now, they hesitated for a moment and were afraid of the Summoning River sect. Hence they missed the chance. If the old Yuan Sovereign was here, he would probably help Ning Fan without hesitation. Chapter 675. A day later, Ning Fan suppressed his internal injuries, and his complexion slightly recovered. Even though his injuries were not fully healed, his magical power was fully restored. At this moment he could even win against 7 Sui. It seems like your injuries are no longer a problem. If so, I can leave with a peace of mind. Wei Xian said with a gratified smile. Senior is leaving? Aren't you going to enter the Heavenly Court's ruins with me? Ning Fan was surprised. There's no need. This time, this old man has brought Chu and Gu to the lower worlds. Firstly, it's to help you kill Moksha Sovereign. Secondly, it's to bring some things to your master in the sword world, and also to help him complete the final step of unsealing the Tao Earth. I see. Ning Fan knew that he was busy unsealing the Tao Earth to plant the Tao fruit. That being the case, he naturally would not stop Wei Xian and the others from going to the sword world. If Senior sees my master, please help me pass a message to him. Just say, the traitor died in Ning Fan's hands. Please restrain your condolences. Finished speaking, Ning Fan closed his eyes. He knew that the old monster's heart had an indelible sorrow for Han Nietian's betrayal. He hated Han Nietian, but he never killed him. The old monster was decisive in killing outsiders, but he was still merciful to his own disciples, even if they were evil disciples. Ning Fan firmly believed that with the old monster's previous cultivation and identity, it would not be difficult to find an expert to cure him. If he really wanted to kill Han Nietian, he only needed to give an order, and the experts of the Black Evil sect would go to the lower world to kill him, even if they had to defy the heavenly law. If he really wanted to kill Han Nietian, he would have asked that golden-eyed sword cultivator to do it. To that golden-eyed sword cultivator, not to mention Han Nietian, even a life immortal or an ordinary true crossing realm true immortal wouldn't have a hard time killing them. The old monster was just unwilling. He had always been waiting for Han Nietian to turn back. He had always been giving Han Nietian a chance. The greater the expectation, the greater the disappointment. He was unwilling to restore his cultivation. The sorrow in his heart was hard to erase, until Ning Fan's appearance gave him hope and reignited his fighting spirit. He wanted to restore his cultivation, wanted to protect his Xiaomei and wanted to support the sky for Ning Fan. But at this time, Han Nietian came to 7 Apricot City. destroying the old monster's expectations and once again breaking his heart. Ningfan knew that if he killed Moksha Sovereign, he would be able to resolve the knot in the old monster's heart and take his revenge, but it would also make the old monster grieve. That was because even in death Han Yetian did not wake up, nor did he look back. Wei Xian sighed and nodded. Then he took out a jade slip and passed it to Ningfan. This diagram contains some information about the ancient heavenly court's 33 heavens. Perhaps it will be useful to you. Originally, this old man had prepared some things for you to break through to the void fragmentation realm. However, it seems like I don't need them anymore. After entering the ancient heavenly court, you have to be extra careful. As long as you don't cause any big trouble, you won't be in danger with the help of the rogue devil. As soon as Wei Xian finished speaking, Rogue Immortal Chu also stepped forward and patted Ningfan's shoulder in a friendly manner. I, Chu Jiangnan, find you very pleasing to the eye. If you come to True Flame Star one day, remember to come and find me for a drink. Rogue Immortal Gu also stepped forward and nodded at Ningfan. His words were like gold, but his eyes were full of praise. Old Man Han's life is not in vain to have you as his disciple. If he comes to Northern Heaven in the future and encounters any trouble, he can come to Northern Heaven Myriad Sword Sect to look for me. Those who were willing to help the old monster when he was in dire straits must be good friends. Ningfan naturally did not dare to neglect them. He cupped his fists and promised them. After that, Wei Xian and the other two went to the lower broken domain, heading towards the sword world. Biscuit brother, what did you see in that green-haired old man's memory? Can you tell me about it? I'm very interested in the ancient demon's abyss. Perhaps one day, I will ascend to the ancient demon's abyss. After all, I'm a pill. Bright Sparrow was babbling nonsense. Before she could finish her words, Ningfan had already pulled her into his arms and covered her mouth. Ningfan's eyes were filled with reproach. If Bright Sparrow reveals her identity as a pill devil here, she would probably get into trouble. The face of the gray-cloaked old man twitched. It seemed like he could not accept Ningfan hugging Bright Sparrow like this. When he heard that Bright Sparrow wanted to ascend to the ancient demon's abyss, he found it even more unacceptable. What kind of joke is this? She is a noble being. How can she ascend to a filthy place like the ancient demon's abyss? If you want to know more about the ancient demon's abyss, I can tell you. However, you must not speak nonsense anymore. Do you understand? Ningfan reprimanded. I will remember. Being half-hugged by Ningfan, Bright Sparrow felt her heart beating faster, and her face turned red. Take a look. These are the incomplete memories of that rogue devil. Ningfan let go of Bright Sparrow and touched her glabella with a finger, transmitting the incomplete memories into her sea of consciousness. Then he took out the jade slip that Wei Xian gave him and sent his spirit sense into it. So this is the ancient demon's abyss. The old ancestor of the summoned river is obviously a heaven devil at the crossing truth realm. However, the summoned river sect is just a weak force in the ancient demon's abyss. The ancient demon's abyss is so powerful. Bright Sparrow could not help but exclaim. All the void fragmentation realm old monsters listened attentively, especially the cultivators of the devil world. The ancient demon's abyss was very mysterious. Even the 4 great rogue devil old ancestors of the devil world had a limited understanding of it. They did not have Ningfan's boldness to search the memories of the experts of the summoned river sect. Ningfan did not pay attention to Bright Sparrow. As long as she did not reveal her identity as a pill devil, she could say whatever she wanted. His mind was completely immersed in the jade slip that Wei Xian gave him. When he finished reading the contents, he remained silent. In the ruins of the heavenly court, there were many demonic beasts and devils running amok. However, they were not worth his attention. What he needed to pay attention to was the Immortal Burying Clan. The ancestor of the Immortal Burying Clan was rumored to be an expert who was condensed from the corpse chi and resentment of the immortals who died in the ancient heavenly court. During his lifetime, he founded the Immortal Burying Clan with his own hands, and it dominated the 33 heavens. When immortals died, no one buried them. Therefore, the Immortal Burying Clan was born. There were many void fragmentation realm experts in the Immortal Burying Clan. There were also 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Each of them was a rogue immortal expert. The immortal burying clan cultivated corpse chi, practiced corpse techniques, and refined corpse poison. They often devoured the ancient corpses of the heavenly court. If you enter the 33 heavens, try not to kill the experts of the immortal burying clan. If you kill one of them, you will attract the attack of countless members of the immortal burying clan. That was Wei Xian's warning. After passing through the sealed door, one could enter the first heavenly realm. When others enter the sealed door, they would need to wait for the seal to be broken. If they have the Void Sky token, they could ignore the seal and enter the first heavenly realm in advance. There were 2 heavenly gates in the first heavenly realm which led to the second heavenly realm. These 2 heavenly gates were guarded by the immortal burying clan. One could only enter the first heavenly realm by paying with Dao crystals. There were 3 heavenly gates leading to the third heavenly realm from the second heavenly realm. With each passing day, one more heavenly gate would appear, and the realm would become much wider. After keeping the jade slip, Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a red copper token. There were 10 sun engravings on it. This was the Void Sky token. It was the token of the immortals of the ancient heavenly court. It could directly enter the sealed door and some special forbidden places in the ancient heavenly court. Normally, only true immortals of the 4 heavens were qualified to hold this token. We still have to wait for 2 more days before the seal opens. This is so boring. Ming Ke had already finished reading the information about the ancient demon's abyss. In that case, let's enter the ruins of the heavenly court first. Ning Fan held Ming Ke's petite body with his right arm and waved the copper token in his left hand. The 2 of them immediately passed through the sealed door with a flash of light and entered the first heavenly realm. The Void Sky token. The Void Sky token that can directly enter the heavenly court. The evil Cloud Rain sovereign actually has this item. Even in the 4 heavens, only old monsters who are above the true immortal realm possess this item. He actually has it. Countless exclamations resounded in the surroundings. Even the gray-robed old man who was wearing a cloak was slightly surprised. All of this had nothing to do with Ning Fan. He kept the Void Sky token and put Ming Ke down. They were already in the first heavenly realm. As soon as they arrived, Ming Ke immediately raised her nose and sniffed with all her might. Her eyes were filled with excitement. There are so many delicious things. Here and here. There are all of them. Let's go look for food quickly. The little girl was drooling. Wait. Let me find the location of the heavenly gates first. Ning Fan closed his eyes. His body was surrounded by a heavenly green rain intent. He used the heaven-peering rain technique. Si Wuxia had given him 3 years to ascend to the 33 heavens. Moreover, she even said that he had to disregard everything. Ning Fan already had a guess in his mind. Each of the 33 heavens must be extremely vast. Otherwise, there was no need for him to spend so much time. Wow. It's raining. Ming Ke looked at the drizzling sky and could not help but recall the days when it was raining heavily in the Dark Sparrow's grave. The curtain of rain stretched far away. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, using the heaven-peering rain technique was enough to make the entire rain world be covered in rain. However, the first heavenly realm was obviously much vaster than the rain world. With his rain technique, not only did he not manage to find the edge of the first heavenly realm, he also could not find the location of the 2 heavenly gates. Within the range of his senses, there were at least thousands of demon beasts and devil beasts above the void fragmentation realm. There were also some cultivators who were as skinny as a match. They wore black armor and held long spears in their hands. They were in secluded cultivation in this place. Those people were probably the members of the immortal burial clan that Wei Xian mentioned. Ning Fan withdrew his rain technique and frowned. For a moment, he did not know which direction he should go in order to find the heavenly gates that led to the second heavenly realm. I might as well follow Ming Quebec. Her nose is sensitive. She might be able to smell the location of the heavenly gates. Little girl, try and see if you can smell the location of the heavenly gates. Heavenly gates? What's that? Ming Ke asked in confusion. Forget it. Let's take one step at a time. You bring me to search for treasures. If we can meet some members of the Immortal Burial Clan, who are also searching for treasures, we can ask them where the heavenly gates are. They are guarding the heavenly gates to collect Dao crystals. If I give them some Dao crystals, it shouldn't be difficult for them to ask for directions. Ning Fan took out his ancient golden sword and carried Ming Ke on his sword. He consumed pills to treat his injuries on the sword while Ming Ke was responsible for leading the way to search for treasures. Most of the demon beasts and devil beasts that they encountered along the way had their cultivation bases broken. Those who tried to attack them were all killed by Ning Fan casually, and their corpses were thrown to Nieli for him to devour. After devouring the flesh and blood essence of a rogue devil and countless experts, Nieli actually showed signs of breaking through to the 7th fragmentation realm. With Ming Ke's guidance, Ning Fan discovered quite a number of extremely secretive ancient immortal caves. These caves had existed for a very long time. The items inside them were no longer useful. Occasionally, they would find a half-destroyed immortal treasure, but Ning Fan was not interested in it at all. On the other hand, he found quite a number of Dao crystals. Together with the 32 storage pouches that he obtained previously, he already had 3 million Dao crystals with him. There were also some rare spiritual herbs growing in these caves. The lowest grade of them was 50,000 years old while the highest grade of them was even 200,000 years old. To the current Ning Fan, spiritual herbs were temporarily useless to him. He did not have the time to study pill refinement techniques. Since Ming Ke wanted to eat these spiritual herbs, he gave them all to her. Brother Biscuit, it smells so good. It really smells so good. I can smell an incredible fragrance. There must be a lot of good items in this direction. Ming Ke suddenly pointed to the north of the east and said excitedly. Is that so? Then let's go and have a look. Ning Fan smiled indifferently. Speaking of which, it was strange. They actually did not encounter any experts of the Immortal Burial Clan along the way. Thus, Ning Fan did not have any chance to ask any questions at all. However, in the direction that Ming Ke was pointing at, Ning Fan could vaguely sense a lot of strong qi. They seemed to be the members of the Immortal Burial Clan. If I go in that direction, I will most likely be able to ask for directions. The speed of the ancient golden sword was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. After a dozen flashes, it had already traveled more than 100 million li. From afar, he could see a blood-red light that shot up to the sky. That blood-red light gave Ning Fan an extremely uncomfortable feeling. The sword light flew all the way to where the blood-red light was. When it got close to the place, Ning Fan retracted his sword light. He could vaguely see an ancient sacrificial altar below. On the sacrificial altar, members of the Immortal Burial Clan who were clad in black armor were constantly being killed, as if they were being sacrificed. In the sky above the sacrificial altar, the blood-red light shot up to the sky. Countless rare spiritual herbs were displayed on the 4 sides of the sacrificial altar. Countless members of the Immortal Burial Clan were silently chanting ancient scriptures in front of the sacrificial altar and bowing their heads in worship. Aya! It turns out that these spiritual herbs already have an owner. Seems like I can't eat them anymore. Ming Ke's face was filled with disappointment. These spiritual herbs are the sacrificial offerings of the Immortal Burial Clan. If it's not necessary, it's not worth getting into a fight with them for these spiritual herbs. The reason why Ning Fan entered the ancient heavenly court was to find the undying tree and save Mu Weiliang. If it's possible, he did not want to cause any trouble, and he was even more unwilling to offend the local tyrant of this place, the Immortal Burial Clan. If he kills any member of the Immortal Burial Clan, he would be surrounded and attacked by the entire clan. The Immortal Burial Clan had countless experts and there were even 9 ancestors and 18 kings. If he is chased by 27 rogue immortals, Ning Fan did not have the confidence to protect himself. Humph! Who are you? Don't you know that this place is the forbidden area of my clan, and no one is allowed to peep into it? 12 void fragmentation realm black-armored burly men rose into the sky and surrounded the ancient golden sword. Among the 12 of them, the weakest one was at the 5th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, while the strongest one was a bald burly man at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. These 12 people were the strongest experts in this place. They seemed to be the guards of this place. Ning Fan cupped his fists at the bald burly man and said, I just happened to pass by this place. I don't have any intention to spy on you. Is that so? So you are cultivators from the outside world? The burly man's eyes flashed with a hint of disdain, and he sneered. That's right. I am indeed a cultivator from the outside world. I wonder if you have a map of the first heaven realm. I am looking for the heavenly gate that leads to the second heaven realm. Ning Fan's expression remained unchanged, ignoring the burly man's disdain. Oh, you want the map of the first heaven realm? The burly man rolled his eyes and burst into laughter. That's easy. 1,000,000 Dao crystals for a map. If you are willing to pay, I will sell you a copy of the map. If you don't want to pay, you can continue searching aimlessly in the first heaven realm. I don't mind telling you one thing. Among the 33 heavens, the first heaven is the smallest. However, even the smallest heaven realm is as vast as 20 small kiliocosms. Even if you have the map and know where the heavenly gate is, it will take you at least half a month to reach the nearest heavenly gate from here. If you are to search aimlessly, the burly man raised 3 fingers and said with a cold smile, it will take you at least 3 years to find the location of the heavenly gate. As a member of the Immortal Burial Clan, the burly man had always looked down on cultivators from the outside world. Seeing that Ning Fan was in a hurry to travel, he naturally wanted to extort a sum of money from him. Ming Ke was so surprised that she could not close her small mouth. Selling a map for 1,000,000 Dao crystals was really too expensive. To the members of the Immortal Burial Clan, making a map was extremely simple. They just needed to carve a jade slip on it. It could be sold for 1,000,000 Dao crystals. He was obviously trying to raise the price. Brother Biscuit, I will go and beat him up. When he is afraid of me, he will certainly give you a copy of the map for free. Ming Ke waved her fist and said, beat him up? Can you defeat him? I can't, but I still have you, right? Don't tell me you can bear to see me being bullied by others. Ming Ke giggled. Ning Fan shook his head with a smile. If it wasn't because of the importance of saving Mu Weiliang, which he could not afford to make any mistakes, he would certainly not be extorted by others for no reason given his personality. He was never the kind of person who would suffer losses. As for now, Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and a storage pouch containing 1,000,000 Dao crystals flew into the hands of the burly bald man. The bald man was slightly stunned. Originally, he just wanted to tease Ning Fan. He did not expect that Ning Fan would pay him. In his eyes, Ning Fan was an outsider who only had a 6th Shattering Realm cultivation base. He was at the 7th Shattering Realm. Why would he be afraid of a 6th Shattering Realm cultivator? In the past, when the ancient heavenly court opened, which outsider cultivator did not act cautiously in fear of offending the Immortal Burial Clan? Even rogue immortals had to cup their fists and greet the members of the Immortal Burial Clan. Let alone Ning Fan, who was just at the 6th Shattering Realm. Who would dare to offend the Immortal Burial Clan in the 33 heavens? The burly bald man did not expect Ning Fan to be willing to pay 1,000,000 Dao crystals for the map. With 1,000,000 Dao crystals in his hand, the burly man's heart skipped a beat. 1,000,000 is too little. If you give me 2,000,000 Dao crystals, I will give you the map of the first day. We agreed on 1,000,000. Why did it become 2,000,000 now? Ming Ke was a little angry. If you are unwilling to pay, just leave. Of course, I won't return this 1,000,000 to you. The burly bald man said mockingly. Ning Fan frowned but did not say anything. He flicked his sleeve again and tossed a storage pouch to the burly bald man. There were another 1,000,000 Dao crystals in this storage pouch. I want the map. Ning Fan's tone became slightly cold. Another 1,000,000 Dao crystals. The burly bald man licked his lips. The 11 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan at the side looked at him enviously. Envious. They are really envious. In their eyes, Ning Fan was just a fat sheep that could be slaughtered at any time. However, this fat sheep was monopolized by the burly bald man. There was no other way. After all, the burly bald man had the highest cultivation base. If there were benefits, he would naturally get them first. I've changed my mind. A map for 3,000,000 Dao crystals. You have to give me another 1,000,000 Dao crystals. Wait. The burly bald man suddenly looked at Ming Ke in disbelief, as if he had discovered something unbelievable. He took out a blood-red jade pendant and shone it at Ming Quebec. When the jade pendant lit up slightly, he was immediately overjoyed. Haha, a pill devil. I'm really lucky. There's actually a pill devil among the outsider cultivators this time. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings have ordered us to find a pill devil to help our ancestor revive. Great. This is really great. This great merit has been obtained by me. The burly bald man kept the blood-red jade pendant and looked at Ning Fan with a cold smile. Young man, hand over all the Dao crystals you have. Then, hand over the little girl beside you to me. This ancient golden sword isn't bad either. Give me one of them, and I'll give you a map. You. Little Ming Ke was so angry that she could no longer speak. She had seen people who were insatiable. However, it was her first time seeing someone like the burly bald man who had no sense of propriety. After all, the immortal burial clan was used to being arrogant. In their eyes, outsider cultivators were just people who could be bullied and humiliated. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent, but he forcefully suppressed it. He pulled Ming Ke behind him and said coldly, I don't want the map anymore. Farewell. If it wasn't necessary, he really did not want to start a war with the immortal burial clan. He just wanted to save Mu Weiliang peacefully. However, it was also impossible for him to hand Ming Ke over to these people. Trying to leave. Humph. I originally wanted to let you go. Since you don't know what's good for you, don't blame me for being impolite. Let's attack together and kill that outsider cultivator. Capture that little pill devil girl alive and bring her back to receive the reward. As soon as the burly bald man gave his order, the 11 experts of the immortal burial clan swarmed towards the ancient sword. Ning Fan closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his eyes flashed with cold light. Today he had already endured it again and again. However, this member of the immortal burial clan had crossed his bottom line. He turned around and transformed into black robes. He raised his hand and extracted the Earth Soul and Void Soul. Ning Fan's cultivation base instantly reached the peak of the 7th Soul Break realm. His body instantly turned into black shadows and dispersed. The entire sky was covered by the black shadows, and it dyed the vast sky black. In an instant, all 11 experts of the immortal burial clan were enveloped by the black shadows. 7 of them at the 5th Soul Break realm, and 4 of them at the 6th Soul Break realm screamed in terror at the same time. Their bodies were minced into pieces by the black shadows, turning into a rain of blood and minced flesh that rained down from the sky. Their primordial spirits were instantly killed by the Black Tempest soul-splitting technique. How dare you kill members of the immortal burial clan? Aren't you afraid of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings' revenge? The burly bald man's body trembled. At this moment, he could feel the boundless baleful qi in Ning Fan's eyes. It was the strongest baleful qi he had ever seen in his life. This was a devil lord of massacre. He thought that he had encountered a fat sheep, but he did not expect that this person was actually a ferocious tiger in sheep's clothing. If I kill all of you here, who would know that I'm the one who killed you? With a wave of his hand, Ning Fan kept the storage pouches of the 11 experts of the immortal burial clan. The black shadows dispersed and swept towards the burly bald man. The burly bald man's body trembled violently. Without saying a word, he wanted to escape. He could already tell that he was definitely not Ning Fan's match. Even an ordinary 8th Soul Break realm expert might not be able to survive in Ning Fan's hands. He wanted to run away, but a golden vortex appeared under his feet out of nowhere. His feet were trapped inside the vortex, making it impossible for him to escape. At the next moment, the black shadows attacked him and engulfed him. With a shrill scream, he was minced into countless pieces of minced flesh by the black shadows. His primordial spirit was captured by Ning Fan's hand, and his soul and memories were being searched. In this way, the map would be in my hands. Isn't it very simple? Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across the members of the immortal burial clan below him. There were a few hundred of them, and there were even 1 or 2 void fragmentation realm experts among them. Each of them was staring at Ning Fan with fear. Many of them formed hand seals, trying to send out their messenger flying swords to inform the 9 ancestors and 18 kings to kill Ning Fan. Ning Fan would not give them the chance to do so. His sword sense turned into a barrier, enveloping everyone within it. None of them could send any messages to the outside world. All of a sudden, an incomparably massive golden vortex appeared on the ground of the sacrificial altar. It sucked all the experts of the Immortal Burial Clan into the vortex and killed them all. Dao fruits, storage pouches, and the blood and flesh essence of countless experts. The blood and flesh essence of these experts were kept in the cauldron world by Ning Fan and placed in front of the giant demon cocoon that Nieli had formed. After these experts died, each of them produced a trace of corpse chi which floated in the air and was refined by Ning Fan one by one. This was an unexpected gain. The corpse chi could gradually improve Ning Fan's corpse devil physique. Initially, he thought that there would be corpse chi in the ancient heavenly court. However, he did not expect that all the corpse chi here would be taken away by the Immortal Burial Clan. After killing these experts, Ning Fan obtained 300,000 Dao crystals. There were a total of 330,000 Dao crystals. As for the countless rare spiritual herbs on the sacrificial altar, they were all taken away by Ning Fan and given to Ming Ke for her to eat. Brother Biscuit is so violent. But I like it. Ming Ke chewed on a spiritual herb with a satisfied look and said with a smile, "Let's go. I already know where the heavenly gate is. Let's go there directly." After killing the members of the Immortal Burial Clan like this, I'm afraid the 33 heavens will be in turmoil. Ning Fan took a deep look at the sacrificial altar. The blood-red light on the altar was slowly fading away. However, it gave him an endless ominous feeling, putting away his distracting thoughts. Ning Fan stepped on the ancient sword and headed straight for the heavenly gate. In a certain ancient forbidden area in the first heaven realm, a skinny old man wearing golden armor was suddenly enraged. The ground beneath him was covered in extremely profound blood-colored talisman markings. He patted his storage pouch and took out hundreds of broken life tokens. Among these life tokens were the sacrificial offerings that were supposed to be offered to the ancestors, and the guards that were sent to the sacrificial altar. They're dead. All of them are dead. Humph. In the first heaven realm, the strongest demon beasts and devil beasts are only at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. How could they have the strength to attack the sacrificial altar? Could the murderer be a cultivator from the outside world? The golden-armored old man's eyes flashed with killing intent. The aura force of a rogue immortal rose to the sky. If it wasn't because I have to guard this forbidden area and protect the ancestors from their awakening, I would certainly show up personally to investigate who is so bold as to kill members of the Immortal Burial Clan. His eyes turned grim. He raised his hand and sent out countless messenger flying swords. There was only one message, which was to order all members of the Immortal Burial Clan in the first heaven realm to kill any cultivator from the outside world without mercy. How dare a mere ant from the outside offend my Immortal Burial Clan? Humph. The golden-armored old man sneered and closed his eyes again. Then he performed some kind of extremely mysterious hand seal. The sealed door of the broken domain in the upper level was finally opened. A group of void fragmentation realm old monsters who had been waiting for a long time rushed into the first heaven realm. As soon as they entered the first heaven realm, everyone wore a look of disbelief. There were already many experts of the Immortal Burial Clan guarding the door. As soon as they saw them entering the realm, they immediately launched a fatal attack. Impossible. Even though the Immortal Burial Clan has always looked down on us cultivators from the outside world, they won't attack us easily. Why would they point their swords at us when the heavenly court opens this time? Could it be that some arrogant cultivator killed the members of the Immortal Burial Clan and angered them? Who is it? Who else could it be? Only the evil Cloud Rain Sovereign alone entered the first heaven realm in advance with the Void Sky token. Each of the old monsters sighed. Some of them even complained to Ning Fan. They had the advantage in numbers. Moreover, there were 7 rogue immortal old monsters present. Naturally, they would not be hurt by the members of the Immortal Burial Clan. Now that they had already become enemies with the Immortal Burial Clan, there was no need for them to be patient anymore. Everyone attacked and killed the group of immortal burial clan experts in no time. However, the expressions of each of the old monsters were extremely unpleasant. Since they had become enemies with the immortal burial clan, it would probably be extremely dangerous to enter the ancient heavenly court this time. Rumor has it that the immortal burial clan is guarded by 9 ancestors and 18 kings. In the first 27 floors of the heaven realm, there is a rogue immortal ancestral king. In order to avoid being left alone and getting into trouble, this old man suggests that we should split into 7 groups. Each group will be led by a rogue immortal old ancestor. We will search for fortune in 7 different directions. In this way, even if we are attacked by the ancestral kings of each floor of the heaven realm, it won't be too dangerous. Fellow Taoists, what do you think of this old man's suggestion? One of the old monsters suggested. This suggestion is naturally very good. We have no objections. Each of the low-level void fragmentation realm experts agreed with the suggestion. However, their faces were filled with sighs. Traveling with the rogue immortal old ancestors was naturally less dangerous. However, if they managed to find any supreme treasures, they would most likely be taken away by those old ancestors. This time, entering the ancient heavenly court to search for fortune would probably not be able to obtain too many benefits. The speed of finding treasures would also be greatly reduced due to the continuous attacks of the immortal burial clan. The sinful Cloud Rain sovereign really knows how to cause trouble for everyone. Chapter 676. Amidst the boundless sea of clouds, a golden sword light sped toward the nearest heavenly gate at a speed comparable to an itinerant immortal. According to what the bald man said, with Ning Fan's speed of breaking the 6 escape technique, he would need half a month to reach the heavenly gate. However, if he transformed into a loose immortal, he would need at most 7 days to arrive at the heavenly gate. It had been 3 days since he killed the bald man and the others. Along the way, whenever the members of the immortal burial clan discovered Ning Fan's whereabouts, they would immediately send out a signal and attack him without hesitation. During these 3 days, he had already killed thousands of experts of the immortal burial clan. Each of them was an expert above the divine transformation realm. He had also killed 3 void fragmentation realm experts. Their cultivation bases were not high. They were only at the 1st or 2nd heavenly layer. Biscuit brother, there are still many treasures in the 1st heaven realm. Aren't we going to look for them? Bright Sparrow said with some vexation. If it's on the way, I'll take it. If it's not on the way, I'll just abandon it. Ning Fan shook his head. From the memories of the immortal burial clan members he killed, he found out that not only the 1st heaven realm, but all the immortal burial clan members had been mobilized in the past 27 days. These immortal burial clan members had received orders to kill all foreign cultivators they encountered. The 9 ancestors and 18 kings seemed to be busy with their own matters. None of them showed up to chase after Ning Fan. Even so, the immortal burial clan was not to be underestimated. It was said that in the immortal burial clan, there were also some corpse devils with rogue immortal cultivation sealed up. All of them were transformed from the corpses of ancient immortals. Under such circumstances, Ning Fan naturally did not have the mood to search for treasures. He just wanted to kill his way to the 33 heavens as soon as possible. The more he killed, the denser the corpse chi in his body became. The corpse chi seeped into Ning Fan's body, prompting his corpse devil body to slowly advance towards the 3rd corpse transformation. All of a sudden, the ancient sword was repelled by a finger projection and stopped in midair. In front of the ancient sword, there was a burly man in red robes who wore an evil smile on his face. Behind him were tens of divine transformation and void refinement realm experts of the immortal burial clan. Haha, I'm really lucky to run into 2 foreign cultivators. One is a 1 shatterer, the other a 6 shatterer. The one with the 6 broken seems to be a cultivator from the rain world. This red-robed man didn't look like a member of the immortal burial race. There seemed to be a fire circulating in his body. His Dao name was True Flame, and he was a cultivator of the fire world from 60,000 years ago. That year, he had entered the ancient heavenly court as a first demolisher. Unfortunately for him, He had been captured by the immortal burying tribesmen, who had placed a restrictive spell on him and taken him as a slave. Although he had been reduced to a slave in the ancient heavenly court, his cultivation base had continued to rise. After 60,000 years, he was already a level 7 demolisher. It seemed like in order to win over True Flame, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings erased True Flame's mental restriction and restored his freedom. They made him a guest elder to continue working for the Celestial Burial Clan. There were many old monsters in the 9 realms that had become slaves to the Celestial Graveyard. True Flame Yin sneered at Ningfan. As far as he knew, the Rain World had always been the weakest in the 9 worlds. Even though Ningfan was at the 6th Shatter Realm, it seemed like he had just achieved that breakthrough not too long ago. Therefore his combat power should not be that high. As for Bright Sparrow, who had destroyed one of her cultivation bases, Master Yen Jun didn't put her in his eyes at all. This little girl is not bad. She is full of primordial yin, and can be used as a cauldron. Brat, hand this girl over to this seat, and this seat can leave your corpse intact. Before True Flame Yen Jun's sneer ended, his eyes were filled with shock. However, Ningfan did not have the intention to talk nonsense with him at all. He directly used the soul extraction technique and raised his cultivation base to the peak of the 7th Shatterer realm in an instant. He lifted a finger and pointed at the ground. An incomparably massive golden vortex appeared beneath the feet of True Flame Yen Jun and the others. The dozens of experts of the Celestial Burial Clan were instantly sucked into the vortex. They let out miserable shrieks and turned into puddles of blood. As for True Flame Yen Jun, both of his feet were trapped in the golden vortex. His body kept sinking. He could not get rid of the spatial vortex technique at all. A moment of carelessness and he was about to be killed by Ningfan. When he looked into Ningfan's eyes again, which were filled with monstrous baleful qi, True Flame Yen Jun felt his knees go weak. Ningfan's baleful qi was too strong. How many void fragmentation realm experts did he have to kill to obtain such a powerful baleful qi? Is he really a cultivator of the Rain World? I didn't expect such a powerful devil lord to appear in the Rain World today. Damn it. It wasn't easy for me to cultivate to the 7th Shatterer realm. How can I die here? I can't accept this. Between life and death, True Flame Yen Jun's face turned pale. He gritted his teeth and shouted. If fellow Taoist is willing to show mercy, I am willing to let fellow Taoist plant a restriction on me and serve fellow Taoist as my master. Oh, you want to serve me as your master? Ningfan's eyes flickered. One day he would ascend to the immortal burial realm. If he ascends, the overall strength of the Rain World would certainly be greatly reduced. If he could subdue some experts of the Celestial Burial Clan and bring them back to the Rain World, it could increase the overall strength of the Rain World. With that thought in mind, Ningfan slowed down his hand seals. His spirit sense spread out like a tidal wave and went into True Flame Yen Jun's sea of consciousness. Of course, he wanted to plant a sense restriction on True Flame Yen Jun. True Flame Yen Jun did not dare to resist. At this moment, he only wanted to live. Even if he has to become a slave, he would accept it. If he really had any backbone, he would not have become a slave of the Celestial Burial Clan in the first place. After planting the sense restriction, Ningfan withdrew his vortex spatial technique and stood on the tip of the sword. He said coldly to True Flame Yen Jun, "Come up and stand at the back. Don't be an eyesore." Yes. True Flame Yen Jun let out a long sigh and leaped onto the tip of the sword. He stood at the hilt of the sword and did not dare to look at Ningfan at all. As for the idea of keeping Bright Sparrow as his human cauldron, he no longer dared to think about it. Ningfan tossed out a large amount of immortal jade and activated the ancient sword to fly again. At the same time he asked Yen Jun coldly, "Are you originally a cultivator of the fire world?" "Yes." "How many cultivators from the 9 realms like you are serving the deity burying clan?" "There are still 29 of them. All of them are at the void fragmentation realm, and 22 of them are below the 5th fragmentation realm. Only those in the 5th demolisher level or higher will have their psychic hexes removed." "Is that so?" Ningfan's eyes flashed. Those who had yet to dispel the mental restriction were not within the scope of his subjugation. Aside from Master True Flame, There were also 6 cultivators from the 9 realms who were at or above the 5 Shatterer stage. Ning Fan gave it another thought. Not necessarily only the cultivators of the 9 worlds could be subdued. If I encounter members of the Immortal Burial Clan who are above the 5 Break realm, what's the harm in subduing them all? Those who did not surrender would be killed. True Flame Child clenched his teeth and respectfully asked, "Is Master going to enter the second heaven realm from the second heaven gate?" Yes. From the memories of the bald man, Ning Fan already knew that the heavenly gates of each level of the heaven realm had been numbered by the Immortal Burial Clan. You can't. I suggest Master to go to the first heaven gate. Even though the first heaven gate is slightly further away, it's slightly safer. The one guarding the second heaven gate is a peak 7th fragmentation realm old monster of the Immortal Burial Clan. He is proficient in the 5 elements technique and is very powerful, Master True Flame suggested. Now that Ning Fan had planted a psychic hexes on Master True Flame Child, he would die together with Ning Fan if Ning Fan dies. He and Ning Fan were locusts on the same rope. Both of them would rise or fall together. From his point of view, even though Ning Fan was powerful, he might not necessarily be able to defeat that peak 7th fragmentation realm old monster. Even if he could win, he would most likely suffer severe injuries. It was really not worth it. Now that the entire Immortal Burial Clan was chasing after the foreign cultivators, if Ning Fan gets injured, he would naturally be in greater danger. There's no need to take a detour. Just go to the second heaven gate. You don't have to say much. What will you do if you want to face a strong enemy? I will kill a strong enemy for Master. Master True Flame sighed. It's good that you understand. Ning Fan gave Master True Flame a cold look. Without saying anything else, he activated the ancient golden sword and sped along the way. For days later, a huge heavenly gate that was as tall as the sky appeared above the sea of clouds. The heavenly gate was black and extremely ancient. However, it was exceptionally sturdy. If the immortal burying race did not open the gate, even a life immortal would not be able to break it. Hundreds of cultivators of the Immortal Burial Clan were guarding outside the gate of heaven. Their cultivation levels were all above the soul formation realm. There were a total of 5 void fragmentation realm cultivators. 2 of them were at the 3rd shattering realm, 1 was at the 4th shattering realm, and 1 was at the 5th shattering realm. The last of them was at the peak of the 7th demolisher level, and although he was emaciated, he glittered with the light of the 5 phases. This person's name was Wuxia, and he was considered one of the top figures in the Celestial Burial Clan. He sat cross-legged on the ground with a 5-colored dagger axe beside him. When the golden sword light that Ning Fan rode approached them, all the members of the Immortal Burial Clan raised their heads and roared at the sky. Outsider cultivator kill. Wuxia suddenly grabbed the dagger axe and stood up. He raised the 5-colored dagger axe and sneered. Foreign cultivator die. The 5-colored dagger axe slashed across the sky, splitting into 5 rays of blade light with different colors, aiming at Ning Fan's head. Ning Fan kept the escaping light of the ancient sword. Before he could make his move, Yanjun had already soared into the sky and blocked the 5-colored blade light. He was already Ning Fan's slave. Thus he naturally needed to show his loyalty. Ning Fan's slightly threatening question was still echoing in his ears. If he encounters a strong enemy, he must fight for Ning Fan with all his might. Void technique. 10 direction vermilion birds. Yanjun stood in the sky and performed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers. Countless flames flew out from his body, turning into the shadows of incomparably huge vermilion birds. These vermilion birds' bodies were condensed from flames. As soon as they appeared, they immediately collided with the 5-colored blade light, trying to destroy it. Wuxia's eyes flashed with anger. At this moment, how could he not see that Yanjun had already betrayed the Immortal Burial Clan and become Ning Fan's slave? The light of the 5 elements revolved around his fingers. Then he performed a hand seal and the 5-colored blade light immediately grew to 10,000 zhang in size. It swept across all directions and easily destroyed the vermilion bird's shadows. Wuxia pointed his finger again, and the 5-colored blade light slashed at Yanjun. Yanjun gritted his teeth. His stomach bulged slightly, and he opened his mouth to breathe out primordial spirit flames that filled the sky. His face quickly turned pale. Obviously, this technique consumed a lot of his energy. Under the burning of the primordial spirit flames, the golden blade light within the 5-colored blade light was incinerated. However, the remaining 4-colored blade light was not afraid of Yin Zhen's primordial spirit flames at all. It passed through the layers of walls of flames and instantly slashed at Yin Zhen's chest. Yin Zhen's eyes were filled with fear. Just as he was about to be killed by the blade light, a golden vortex suddenly appeared beneath his feet and saved him. At the next moment, a golden vortex appeared on the ancient sword out of nowhere. Yin Zhen staggered and appeared on the ancient sword, luckily escaping from this disaster. "Thank you for saving me, master." Yin Zhen's face revealed a complicated expression. Fire technique isn't something that you can use like this. Ning Fan did not use the soul-extracting incarnation technique. Instead, he only relied on his 6th destruction realm cultivation base and stepped into the sky. Every step he took was accompanied by life and death. Life and death follow each other. Master's Tao of life and death is actually so high. Yin Zhen was shocked. "Oh, life and death follow each other, huh? If I kill you and refine you into a pill, I wonder if it can improve my Tao of life and death." Lu Xiu let out a disdainful snort. He changed his hand seals and the golden blade light that had been incinerated reappeared in the sky. He raised his hand and pointed at Ning Fan. The 5-colored blade light slashed at Ning Fan simultaneously. "Master, you mustn't underestimate your enemy. This blade light is very powerful." Yin Zhen was a little worried. He knew that Ning Fan's combat power could be raised to the peak of the 7 destruction realm. However, at this moment, Ning Fan did not use his full combat power. He was only using his 6th destruction realm cultivation base to resist the 5-colored blade light. It seemed like a very arrogant action. Am I underestimating my enemy? Ning Fan looked at the incoming golden blade light and raised his hand to grab it. With just a grab, he crushed the golden blade light. With another grab, he crushed the fire blade light. With another grab, he crushed the water blade light. As for the remaining wood and earth blade light, they were all crushed by Ning Fan easily. After the 5 blade lights were destroyed, the Daggeraxe magic treasure returned to its original form and was easily caught by Ning Fan. With just a swipe of his palm, the power of the 5 elements within the Daggeraxe was completely destroyed. The power of this treasure was gone. Impossible. He is not at the 7th sky of Nirvana realm. How dare he grab the 5-element saber light with his hands? Lu Xiu was shocked. Why? It was because Ning Fan possessed the minor 5 elements physique, and it had already reached the great perfection realm. No one below the life immortal realm would be able to harm him using the 5 elements technique. If the cultivators here become my slaves, I can guarantee that they won't die. Ning Fan raised his hand and pointed at the heavenly gate. A wave of power of the 5 elements spread out from his body. Immediately, a small and massive barrier of the 5 elements appeared around the heavenly gate. This was an additional mystique that appeared after the completion of the minor 5 elements. Within this minor 5 elemental barrier, no one could use the 5 elemental abilities except for cultivators whose cultivation base was a few realms higher than Ning Fan's. Lu Xiu had spent his entire life studying the 5 elements, and most of his sacred arts were on the 5 elements. Being in the minor 5 elements barrier, almost all of Lu Xiu's divine abilities were sealed, and he was unable to use them. 5 elemental spirit equipment, 5 elemental magical treasures, 5 elemental secret techniques. None of them could be used. He had cultivated a total of 5 nascent divinities, each of which occupied a different path. That was how he had reached the peak of the 7th Demolisher level. At this moment in the small 5 elements barrier, his cultivation was being sealed bit by bit, and it continued to drop. 6th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm. 5th heavenly layer, 4th heavenly layer. Minor 5 elements body. A perfected lesser 5 elements constitution. At this moment, Lu Xiu was afraid. With his cultivation base at the 1st heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, and ordinary abilities that he was not good at, it was impossible for him to defeat Ning Fan at all. Only death awaits him. He was proficient in the cultivation of the 5 elements. Against cultivators at the same level as him who only cultivated one element, he would definitely be able to defeat them. However, against someone like Ning Fan who could restrain all 5 elements, he had no chance of winning at all. To be a slave or to die? Lucio was hesitating. However, Ning Fan did not give him too much time to consider. He directly pointed his finger at him. Countless golden whirlpools appeared above the sea of clouds. The immortal burial clan members who were sucked into the whirlpools died instantly. Those who did not die were intentionally killed by Ning Fan. He temporarily trapped them with the spatial vortex technique, in an attempt to break Lucio's psychological defense. Elder Lu, how can we, the members of the immortal burial clan, become the slaves of a mere foreign cultivator? Even if we die, we won't surrender. One of the 3 old monsters roared furiously. As soon as he finished speaking, he was already sucked into the golden whirlpools and died instantly. Lucio's body shuddered. His face was filled with fear. If I don't surrender, will I end up like this person? Elder Lu, the 7 kings have done us a great favor. Even if we die, we won't betray the immortal burial clan. Am I right? One of the 4 old monsters laughed loudly at the sky. At the next moment he was sucked into the golden whirlpools and died. Lucio's face turned pale. His psychological defense was crumbling bit by bit. The screams of the members of the immortal burial clan did not arouse his courage. Instead, it aroused his fear. He was afraid. I surrender. Master, please plant a mental seal on me. From today onwards, I, Lucio, am no longer a member of the immortal burial clan. I will only be Master's slave. Lucio gritted his teeth and said, very good. Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and planted a mental seal in Lucio's sea of consciousness, controlling his life and death. Then he said to Lucio coldly, you will kill all the enemy cultivators here alone. Lucio's face turned pale. He clenched his teeth and said, yes. Ning Fan removed the minor 5 elements barrier. Lucio's cultivation base rose all the way to the peak 7th element breaking realm. His eyes glinted with ferocity. He made up his mind and shot out 5 colored rays of light from his eyes, turning all the cultivators here into ashes. After that, he kept all the storage pouches and Dao fruits and handed them to Ning Fan. There were still countless storage pouches and Dao fruits in Ning Fan's spatial vortex. However, there was no need for him to collect them in a hurry. The second person. Ning Fan muttered to himself. With a flick of his sleeve, he refined the blood essence of the corpses that littered the ground into beads of blood, and sent them to Nieli in his cauldron world. After keeping the ancient golden sword, Ning Fan and Ming Ke walked side by side to the heavenly gate. Behind them were Yanjun and Lucio. Yanjun and Lucio exchanged glances. Just a moment ago, the 2 of them were still fighting each other to the death. Now, however, they were both Ning Fan's slaves. The encounters in life really make one sigh endlessly. Ning Fan's gaze fell upon the black heavenly gate. He faintly felt that this gate gave him a strange feeling, but he could not tell why. He placed his palm on the heavenly gate and pushed it. However, he realized that he could not open the gate with his current strength. However, with the Void Sky token, it seemed like passing through this gate would be a piece of cake. The formation plate to open the second heavenly gate is in my hands. I will open the heavenly gate for Master now. Lucio took out a formation plate from his sleeve. Just as he was about to activate it, he was stopped by Ming Quebec. Wait. There are treasures inside the heavenly gate. Brother Biscuit, take a closer look. There really are treasures inside the heavenly gate. Ming Ke returned to her pink and tender fists, and punched the heavenly gate repeatedly. Of course, she could not shatter the heavenly gate. She revealed a frustrated expression and sighed. I can't take this treasure away. It's useless to me as well. Forget it. I don't want it anymore. What kind of treasures can be inside the heavenly gate? Lucio and Yanjun wore blank expressions. Ning Fan, on the other hand, frowned. Once again, he placed his palm on the heavenly gate and closed his eyes to sense it carefully. Previously, he already felt that the heavenly gate gave him a strange feeling. Now that Ming Ke had reminded him, he naturally wanted to investigate it carefully. Time passed by slowly. Ning Fan did not open his eyes, but his expression became more and more solemn. After a long time, he suddenly opened his eyes and raised his hand. The Emperor Xiao's sword appeared in his hand. He displayed the myriad sword style, and stood on the heavenly gate with his sword. This sword strike was extremely powerful. It was enough to instantly kill a cultivator at the 5th level of the destruction realm. Even a cultivator at the 6th level of the destruction realm would be severely injured. However, this sword strike only left an almost unnoticeable crack on the heavenly gate. Suddenly, a trace of black starlight flashed across the crack. At the next moment, the crack disappeared. Master, are you trying to shatter the heavenly gate? You should know that even a life-immortal realm expert can't shatter the heavenly gate. Yan Zhen and Lu Xiu shook their heads disapprovingly. At the next moment, their eyes were filled with shock. All of a sudden, Ning Fan's palm glowed with black star power, and he grabbed the heavenly gate. As he grabbed, countless traces of stars immediately appeared on the heavenly gate. Then, a black star stone flew out from the heavenly gate. At the next moment, the heavenly gate that even a life-immortal realm expert could not shatter collapsed. It's broken. Master actually shattered the heaven gate. This. Master Flame Jinzi and Lu Xiu were shocked to the extreme. Even if the 9 ancestors and 18 kings were to join hands, they would not be able to shatter the heavenly gate. Could it be that Ning Fan's strength alone is above the 9 ancestors and 18 kings? Wow. Brother Biscuit, you're really powerful. Ming Ke stared at the black star stone in Ning Fan's hand. Her eyes sparkled like little stars. She could tell that this black star stone was a treasure. However, it seemed to be useless to her. What a pity. I didn't expect that there would be black star power left behind by the Heaven Sovereign in the heavenly gate. Ning Fan's eyes widened in surprise when he felt the boundless star power in the star stone in his palm. If he refines this black star stone, he would have at least 15 more natal stars. This black star stone was condensed from the Heaven Sovereign's star power. When the Heaven Court still existed, the Heaven Sovereign used his star power to form the heavenly gate. Even if the heavenly gate is attacked, it could heal itself. After the Heaven Court was destroyed, this gate still existed. However, no one could extract the star power from it. Even if they destroy this gate, they would not be able to extract it. Only those who have cultivated the Black Star technique could obtain the star power within it. In this era, Ning Fan was the only one who had cultivated the Black Star art in this world. Ning Fan made a rough calculation. There were 2 heavenly gates in the first level of the heaven world, 3 in the second level, and 4 in the third level. Based on this calculation, there were a total of 560 heavenly gates from the first to the 32nd day. If there is a black star stone in each of the heavenly gates, with 560 black star stones, he could form a total of 8,400 natal stars. Currently, Ning Fan had formed 212 natal black stars. If he could obtain all the star stones in this place and refine them all, with 100 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a void glimpse stage expert. With 1,000 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a void glimpse stage expert. With 10,000 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of an ordinary life immortal realm expert. With 8,612 natal black stars, he could survive the joint attack of a rogue immortal realm expert. Brother Biscuit, are we going to the second level of the heaven world now? No. We are going to the first heavenly gate in the first level of the heaven world. Although it will take some time, if we can obtain enough black star stones, the difficulty of killing the 33 heavens will be greatly reduced. Chapter 677. 7 days later, Ning Fan annihilated the group of cultivators who were guarding the first heavenly gate, and destroyed the heavenly gate, taking away the star stones. Another 15 days passed. The 3 heavenly gates of the second heaven realm were destroyed by Ning Fan one after another, and he subdued a 6-shattering realm slave. In another month, the 4 heavenly gates of the third heaven realm were destroyed, the 4th heaven realm, the 5th heaven realm, the 6th heaven realm. It had been a year since Ning Fan entered the ancient heavenly court. He had already reached the 12th level of the heaven realm. The 13 heavenly gates were destroyed by him one after another. Currently he was cultivating at the first heavenly gate of this level. He already had 90 black star stones in his hand. There were already 7 servants behind him. Among them, Wuxia and Yanjun were at the 7 Shattering Realm. 3 of them were at the 6 Shattering Realm and 2 of them were at the 5 Shattering Realm. Among them, there were Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the 9 worlds who had once surrendered to the Immortal Burial Clan. There were also experts of the Immortal Burial Clan. However, they were just considered as Ning Fan's slaves now. Along the way to the 12th level of the Heaven Realm, Ning Fan had killed more than 100 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the Immortal Burial Clan. As for the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators, there were countless of them. Even so, the 9 ancestors and 18 kings of the Immortal Burial Clan did not show up to kill Ning Fan. However, it did not mean that they did not hold a grudge against Ning Fan. Brother Biscuit, can I ask you for a few slaves to search for treasures in the 12th level of the Heaven Realm? Ming Ke asked expectantly. In the 12th level of the Heaven Realm, there were many treasures but also more dangers. Other than the members of the Immortal Burial Clan, there were also demon beasts and devil beasts at the 5 Shattering Realm and 6 Shattering Realm. The current Ming Ke could not defeat ferocious beasts of this level. She looked at Lu Xiao and Yin Jun with a smile, wanting to borrow them and bring them with her to search for treasures. After all, Ning Fan still needed to cultivate here, didn't he? Don't leave my side. If the 9 ancestors and 18 kings suddenly appear, they won't be able to protect you. Then lend me Big Head to play with. Ming Ke pleaded. Even Big Head might not be able to protect you. You're close to breaking through to the 2nd broken level, and you haven't finished eating the spirit herbs we found this time. There's no need to rush. The spirit herbs we found along the way are enough for you to eat. Oh. Ming Ke lowered her head and took out a potato-like spiritual herb and started chewing on it. It didn't take long for him to eat and drink to his heart's content. Feeling much better, he took out a jade mat and laid down on it, snoring away. Lu Xiao and the others were shocked when they saw Bright Sparrow eating the spiritual herbs raw. He thought to himself that Bright Sparrow's physical body was so terrifying that it could withstand the energy of the spiritual medicine directly. When he looked at Ning Fan again, he was even more shocked. At this moment, Ning Fan was devouring star stones one after another. The star power in his body was not released, but it was extremely vast. Ning Fan continuously made hand seals and refined the star stones according to the Traversing Star Palace's route recorded in the Cold Star Secret Record. The refining speed was naturally extremely fast. Master actually knows the cultivation star cultivation method. It's truly unbelievable. Lu Xiao and the others exclaimed in admiration. As the star stones were refined, the number of natal stars in his body gradually increased. 227, 242, 257, 272. As long as he refines all 90 star stones, the number of natal stars in Ning Fan's body would exceed 1,000. At that time, the injuries caused by the attack of the Shattering One cultivator would be healed instantly. 90 star stones. I still need a few days to fully refine all of them. Ning Fan closed his eyes and quietly refined the star power in his body. In each of the first 27 floors, there was a top-secret forbidden area. In each of the forbidden areas, one of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings was in seclusion. At this moment, the expressions of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings were dark and gloomy. According to the intelligence, a foreign cultivator had swept through the first 12 floors of the Heaven Realm. Most of the members of the Immortal Burial Clan who were sent to kill him were killed. Moreover, this person seemed to have great abilities as he destroyed all the heavenly gates of the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm. This person captured a total of 7 experts of the Immortal Burial Clan alive, and made them his slaves. To the Immortal Burial Clan who regarded foreign cultivators as ants, this was a great humiliation. Lu Xiao actually betrayed us too. Damn it. I wasted a profound corpse pill to help him break through his cultivation level in the past. In the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm, the 7 kings were enraged. He could not wait to leave the Immortal Cave immediately to kill Ning Fan, who was in the 12th floor of the Heaven Realm. However, The matter of resurrecting the primogenitor was too important for him to leave. His voice passed through the blood marks on the ground and reached the ears of the other ancestral kings. The other ancestral kings were enraged. They wished they could tear Ningfan into pieces. Humph! A mere foreign cultivator actually dared to kill members of our immortal burial clan, and even made them his slaves. What a great humiliation! In the 19th floor of the heaven realm, the 9th ancestor said angrily. Third ancestor, there seems to be a rogue devil corpse devil above the 25th floor of the heaven realm, right? Why don't you send him out to kill that foreign cultivator? The 6 kings suggested. Humph! That rogue devil corpse devil was injured by an unknown rogue immortal. He is currently recuperating in the corpse devil pool. He won't be able to fight for a while. The 3rd ancestor said angrily. What? A rogue immortal went up to the 25th floor of the heaven realm. The few ancestral kings were shocked. He didn't go up. He went down. That rogue immortal came from above the 28th floor. He might be a cultivator of the 4 heavens. The first ancestor who had been silent all this while suddenly spoke. Humph! So what if he's a cultivator of the 4 heavens? That rogue immortal has already reached the 15th floor. I raised a large number of void fragmentation realm demon beasts in this floor of the heaven realm, but they were all killed by him alone. How hateful! The 4 kings said angrily. These foreign cultivators are too hateful. If the ancestor of ancient Zong wakes up, I will definitely ask him to kill all the foreign cultivators in this place. The 9 kings said coldly. These foreign cultivators won't be able to be arrogant for long. We just need to endure for another 10 years. 10 years later, when the ancestor wakes up, with his cultivation base at the quasi-emperor realm, who in the ancient heavenly court can be his match? 10 years. I just need to wait for another 10 years. After refining all of the starstones, the number of natal stars in Ningfan's body had reached 1680. It was 18 stars more than what he had expected. Ningfan exhaled a mouthful of murky qi and stood up. His eyes shone with starlight. The various injuries in his body were healing at a rapid speed. At this moment, he could even withstand the attacks of a group of cultivators without dying. Ming-Ke stared at Ningfan in a daze. She was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. She stood beside Ningfan and noticed that a void fragmentation realm sword wound on his arm was healing at an astonishing speed. She could not help but grab Ningfan's arm and bite it, leaving a small wound on his arm. Before the wound began to bleed, it had already healed itself in the blink of an eye. Not even a scar was left. She took another bite and the wound healed again. She took another bite and the wound healed again. Ningfan looked at Ming-Ke speechlessly. He patted her head and scolded her with a smile. Are you going to eat me like a spiritual herb? I can't bear to eat you. I'm just doing an experiment. Brother Biscuit, what kind of star technique is this? It's much more powerful than the cold star secret record that you gave me. I want to learn this. Ming-Ke grabbed Ningfan's arm and shook it, begging him. You won't be able to learn this technique. It was a complete coincidence that I was able to cultivate the black star technique. As soon as Ningfan finished speaking, his brows suddenly knitted together. His heartbeat suddenly quickened without any warning. It was a sign that danger was approaching. He looked at the destroyed heavenly gate in silence. The danger was coming from the upper levels. However, the danger did not seem to be coming specifically for him. Ningfan looked at Ming-Ke beside him and remained silent for a while. Then he took out the ancient golden sword and led everyone to the passage behind the heavenly gate, arriving at the 13th level of the heaven realm. When they arrived at this place, the sense of danger he felt became stronger. 1 month later, all the 14 heavenly gates of the 13th level of the heaven realm were destroyed. Ningfan and his group arrived at the 14th level of the heaven realm. After killing a group of invading experts, Ningfan obtained the map of the 14th level and flew towards one of the heavenly gates. The guards of this heavenly gate were 3 short old men at the 8th break realm. Other than the 3 old men, there were also thousands of experts of the immortal burial clan standing in a formation. The 3 old men stood at the peak of the sea of clouds, quietly waiting for Ningfan's arrival. From the information they already knew, They knew that Ning Fan had the strange ability to destroy the heavenly gates. Thus, he was not to be underestimated. Every time Ning Fan arrived at a level of the heaven realm, he would definitely go to all the heavenly gates. As long as they wait here, Ning Fan would definitely come. If they see Ning Fan, they must kill him. At a certain moment, the three old men opened their sharp eyes. In the sky, a ray of golden sword light instantly traversed thousands of li, and appeared outside the heavenly gates. On the sword light, there were Lu Xiu and the other 6 people who had surrendered. There was also Ming Ke, who was a foodie who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth while chewing on spiritual herbs. There was also a white-robed young man with cold eyes. At the moment when the sword light arrived, everyone's eyes were focused on the white-robed young man. The 3 of us are the subordinates of the 5 kings. Since you are already here, there's no need for you to leave. Get into formation. As soon as the 3 old men gave their orders, thousands of members of the Immortal Burial Clan immediately held a gourd magic tool in their hands. The gourd emitted a towering corpse chi and formed a sinister formation diagram in the sky. Ning Fan and his group were at the center of the formation diagram. Not good. This is the corpse disintegration grand formation of the Immortal Burial Clan. In ancient times, this formation was originally created by cultivators who wanted to disintegrate their corpses and become immortals. However, since ancient times, how many people could disintegrate their corpses and become immortals? Almost all those who are trapped in this formation will die. Lu Xiu and the others exclaimed in shock. The surroundings were filled with extremely dense corpse chi, which contained boundless corpse poison. Even Lu Xiu and the other Immortal Burial Clan experts who had cultivated corpse techniques did not dare to face this corpse chi head-on to resist this corpse poison. Corpse disintegration grand formation, huh? Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly solemn when he sensed the corpse chi that was spreading into the sky from the grand formation. If he had already completed the 3rd corpse transformation, he would have a small chance of becoming an immortal with the help of this formation. But now, if he falls into the formation diagram, he would certainly be in a situation where he would most likely die. The only way was to break this formation before it was completely formed. The key to this formation was the corpse chi formation. As long as the corpse chi is taken away, the formation would collapse on its own. Devour. Ning Fan opened his mouth and swallowed all the corpse chi that filled the sky into his stomach. The formation diagram beneath his feet gradually dimmed, and eventually disappeared without a trace. The expressions of the thousands of Immortal Burial Clan experts who laid out the formation changed at the moment the formation was broken. They suffered a heavy backlash and were forced to retreat in the vast sky. The eyes of the 3 shattering realm old men were gloomy, but they were not surprised. They did not expect to eliminate Ning Fan with just a formation in the first place. As expected, they still needed to do it themselves in order to kill Ning Fan. The 2 shattering realm old men on both sides remained silent. Each of them took a step back and performed hand seals with their 10 fingers. Their chi weakened rapidly and began to fall towards the 6 shattering realm. As for the 8 shattering realm old man in the middle, his aura force rose sharply and his cultivation base rose to the peak of the 8th shattering realm in an instant. All of you retreat. I alone am enough to deal with this place. The old man stepped on the sea of clouds and walked towards Ning Fan step by step. He sneered. My surname is Chun. You must remember this and be an understanding ghost. Chi old man Chen's figure suddenly disappeared from his spot. At the next moment he appeared beside Ming Ke. He grinned, revealing his white teeth. With his eyesight he could already tell that Ming Ke was a pill devil. A pill devil was extremely beneficial to the resurrection of the first floor of the heaven realm. He began to understand why Ning Fan would attack the bald muscular man from the first floor of the heaven realm. That bald muscular man must have noticed Ming Ke's identity as a pill devil, and wanted to snatch her away. That was why he was killed by Ning Fan. I won't stand on ceremony and accept this pill devil then. Old man Chen extended his large hand and grabbed Ming Ke who was beside him. At this moment, a golden vortex suddenly appeared beneath her feet, and she disappeared without a trace in an instant. At the next moment, Ming Ke appeared in Ning Fan's arms. He gently put her down and shielded her behind his back. I didn't want to attack the Immortal Burial Clan at first. You have only yourself to blame for all of this. Attack. As soon as Ningfan gave the order, Lu Xiao and the other 6 experts attacked at the same time. They summoned their magic treasures and attacked Old Man Chen. Old Man Chen's eyes flickered. With his current cultivation base, it was not easy for him to block the attacks from Lu Xiao and the other 6 experts at such a close distance. With a leap, he got off the ancient sword and increased the distance between them. Then he raised his finger and pointed at them continuously, blocking the attacks from the 7 magic treasures one by one. Lu Xiao and the others also got off the ancient sword and controlled their magic treasures to fight against Old Man Chen. Old Man Chen's eyes turned cold. He grabbed at the clouds and shouted, "Evil creatures, why are you still not coming out to help us?" As soon as he gave the order, a 30,000 zhang giant toad suddenly flew out from the lower layer of the sea of clouds. The toad's cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was only a step away from attaining the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Old Man Chen leaped backwards and stood on the giant toad's body. He stared coldly at Lu Xiao and the others and ordered, "Cooperate with me and use the corrosive killing technique. Do you hear me?" Roar. The giant toad let out a loud roar as a response to Old Man Chen's request. Old Man Chen performed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers. The corpse chi around his body rose rapidly. The giant toad opened its mouth and breathed out a poisonous mist that covered the sky. When the corpse chi and the poisonous mist fused, Old Man Chen's hand seals suddenly changed. An extremely terrifying aura force shot out from his eyes. Immortal technique, corrosive killing technique. The dark green light suddenly dispersed. All of a sudden, Lu Xiao and the others showed a look of despair. Immortal technique. Immortal technique. Even if the 7 of them used their full strength, they would not be able to block this immortal technique. All 7 of them looked at Ningfan. From their point of view, if there was anyone in this place who could block this immortal technique, it would most likely be Ningfan. After all of Ningfan's abilities were world-shocking. He most likely had some trump cards that could block this immortal technique. People who are about to die, remember that my surname is Chun. Old Man Chen sneered. He sat cross-legged on the head of the toad, waiting for Ningfan and the others to be corroded to death by the corrosive poison. Ningfan's hand was already placed on the devil sealing pouch. Both Old Man Chen and this giant toad were not people he could defeat. Big Head, do it. I'm not Big Head. A devil roar suddenly swept across the vast sky. The green light that filled the sky was instantly shattered. A cloud of devil mist soared into the sky, turning into a gigantic devil creature. A rogue devil. The rogue devil blew a huge breath and all the poisonous mist that filled the sky was blown away. His cold gaze swept across Lu Xiao and the others. Then, it scanned through the cultivators of the Immortal Burying Clan. Finally, it stopped at Old Man Chen and the giant toad. Lu Xiao and the others were both surprised and delighted. Their master really has a way to block the immortal technique. A rogue devil. It's actually a rogue devil. Their master has actually taken a rogue devil as his slave. Even a rogue devil is Ningfan's slave. Being Ningfan's slaves is really not that bad. What? It's actually a rogue devil. Not good. Old Man Chen's face was filled with shock. In the next moment, he was already severely injured by the rogue devil's punch. Why are you so shocked? Are you really surprised to see my head getting bigger? Puff! Old Man Chen suffered a furious punch from the rogue devil. His primordial spirit was nearly shattered. He lost his balance and fell off the toad's head. His body was invaded by the rogue devil's devil mist. His chi could not recover within a short period of time, and he could not use any magic power. Blink, blink, blink. He took out a jade slip and was about to crush it. It was a teleportation jade slip. It could teleport 1 billion li away instantly. It was a supreme treasure for escaping. The rogue devil sneered and threw a punch, directly shattering Old Man Chen's jade slip and inflicting another serious injury on him. After the 2 punches landed, Old Man Chen was already on the verge of death. He looked at the rogue devil who was approaching him step by step with extreme fear. He wanted to escape, but he could not use any magic power. The loose demon grabbed Old Man Chen in his hand and looked at him very seriously. He asked solemnly, "Tell me, isn't my head big?" I don't know. Motherfucker. How dare you say you don't know? Bang. Old Man Chen was an 8-shatter realm expert of his generation. He had even used a secret technique to raise his cultivation base to the peak of the 8-shatter realm. However, he was smashed into a mist of blood by the rogue devil. At the moment when the rogue devil attacked Old Man Chen, Ning Fan had already ordered Lu Xiao and the others to surround and kill the remaining members of the Zongxian clan. The two old men at the 8-shatter realm had already used a secret technique. Their cultivation base had already fallen to the 6th-shatter realm. To Lu Xiao and the others, it was not difficult to kill them. He did not kill them himself. Instead, he stayed by Ming Kei's side to protect her. There was always a hint of uneasiness in his heart. That uneasiness was telling him not to leave Ming Kei's side. "Master, what should we do with this little frog? Should we roast it and eat it?" With just a punch, the rogue devil knocked the giant toad to the ground and asked Ning Fan. That giant toad's body was trembling when it faced the rogue devil. It looked at Ning Fan with fear and let out a few low roars. Its roars seemed to be saying that it was willing to submit to Ning Fan and beg him to spare its life. Without saying a word, Ning Fan spread out his spirit sense and planted a demon seal on the toad. He had subdued this unusually ferocious giant beast. On the other side, Lu Xiao and the others had also killed the thousands of members of the Zongxian clan. Among the two old men at the 8-shatter realm, one of them would rather die than surrender, and was killed. The other one was willing to submit, and Ning Fan planted a mental seal on him. Even when he was planting the mental seal, Ning Fan still maintained his full vigilance. He could sense that an enemy was lurking not far away from him. That enemy was the source of his uneasiness. "Master, this subordinate is truly convinced by you this time. You can even subdue a rogue devil as your servant." "That's a rogue devil." Lu Xiao and the others were amazed. Rogue devil old monsters were all on the same level as the 9 ancestors and 18 kings. Such people were naturally arrogant. If it wasn't because they had no other choice, why would they be willing to be someone else's slave? Ning Fan was really too powerful to be able to subdue a rogue devil. Ning Fan just casually responded to the compliments and flattery from the crowd. His eyes coldly scanned the surroundings. All of a sudden, his heart was filled with warning signs. He quickly rode the ancient golden sword and flew 10,000 zhang away with Bright Sparrow. At the place where he was originally standing, a middle-aged rogue immortal appeared. He looked at Ning Fan with a hint of surprise. "Oh, what a vigilant kid. Moreover, you can even subdue a rogue devil as your servant. No wonder you could turn the immortal burial clan upside down." At the next moment, the middle-aged rogue immortal's killing intent was suddenly revealed. "However, if you want to go against my pill sect, these are still not enough. Hand over the pill devil behind you and I can spare your life. I will only give you 3 breaths of time to consider. These 3 breaths of time are all thanks to your rogue devil. However, if you really provoke me, I won't need to spend too much effort to kill you." This rogue immortal was from the pill sect. His target was Bright Sparrow. Chapter 678. It was a middle-aged loose immortal in alchemy robes. He had a skinny face and a harsh and merciless smile. He was from the Dan sect and his name was Changshan. He had entered the Heaven Court to collect ghosts and bring back Bright Sparrow. Changshan looked at Bright Sparrow who was behind Ning Fan, and licked his lips. Then he looked at Ning Fan and sneered without saying a word. The reason why he gave Ning Fan 3 breaths of time to consider, and did not attack him right away was just because he was slightly afraid of Ning Fan's rogue devil. Apart from the scattered devil, who was somewhat difficult to deal with, there was no one else here that Changshan would take seriously. If not for the rogue devil, Changshan was confident that he could kill everyone here within 10 breaths. Even if there was a loose demon here, Changshan still had a way to kill everyone here, including the loose demon. However, in order to do so he would need to use some trump cards. If it was not necessary, Changshan did not want to rashly use his trump card. If Ning Fan is sensible enough to hand over Ming Ke, he would be able to save himself a lot of trouble. People of the pill sect, huh? Ning Fan's face darkened. The person who schemed against Bright Sparrow back then was the sect leader of the alchemy sect. It was obvious that Changshan was sent by the sect leader of the alchemy sect. If he didn't take Bright Sparrow away, he wouldn't give up. As for Ning Fan, it was impossible for him to push Bright Sparrow into the fire pit and hand her over to this person. Biscuit brother. For the first time in her life, Bright Sparrow revealed an expression of fear. He wasn't afraid of Changshan, the pill sect, or the pill sect's sect master. That fear came from the depths of his soul. She was an alchemy devil created by the alchemy sect's sect master. There seemed to be a voice in her soul that was bewitching her, telling her not to go against the alchemy sect. Don't be afraid, I'm here. Lucius, take these men and stand down. Big head attack. Ning Fan did not think about whether to hand over Ming Ke or not. He directly used his actions to tell Changshan his decision. Lu Xiao and the others retreated to the side with the toad and the old man. The rogue devil pointed at the sparrow arrogantly and spat at Changshan. Do you know who she is? She is my master's wife, my mistress. If this old man's master is really a coward and hands mistress over to her, wouldn't he be wearing a big green hat? Even this old man will lose face. You want to take my mistress away? Ask my fist first. As soon as the scattered demon's voice fell, Changshan's eyes suddenly turned cold. His figure instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of the scattered demon. With a point of his finger, tens of thousands of illusory pills immediately appeared. All the pill phantoms exploded in an instant, forming a destructive magic power storm that engulfed the loose devil. You talk too much and are full of loopholes. You're going to die. Changshan said disdainfully. As a loose devil, his intelligence was actually so poor. He even dared to spout nonsense when facing the enemy. It was truly laughable. In a true life and death battle, there was no time for nonsense. He did not see the moment the loose devil was engulfed by the storm of magic power. He revealed a treacherous smile. A series of explosions rang out in the sky. The explosions were enough to instantly kill a cultivator of the eight-shattering realm. On the surface, it seemed like the rogue devil was definitely going to die after being ambushed by Changshan when he was defenseless. Suddenly, a huge skull made of black mist flew out of the storm and swallowed Changshan in one gulp. Changshan's eyes widened as he was swallowed by the rogue demon. Haha, do you think I'll leave an opening for you? Who do you think I am? Refine. The skull laughed loudly. It forcefully activated the devil mist in its body, trying to refine and kill Changshan in one go. I have underestimated you. Devil extermination pill. Changshan, who was inside the skull, took out a golden pill and swallowed it. It was a peak 7th revolution pill called the devil extermination pill. The moment he swallowed the pill, his body suddenly grew to 50,000 zhang in size. He forcefully broke through the skull's mouth and broke free. Changshan's body shone with a dazzling golden light. Golden armor covered his body, making him look like a golden-armored heavenly god. The skull let out a muffled groan and turned into black mist that dissipated. Then, it condensed into a huge devil with 2 horns. A trace of black blood flowed out from the corner of its mouth. The loose devil let out a cold snort. Its body grew to 50,000 zhang in size and confronted Changshan from afar. Ning Fan's eyes turned extremely solemn at that moment. Devil extermination pill. An auxiliary-type pill. The effect of the pill was to give the user a trace of devil extermination golden light within 2 hours. When Changshan first appeared, his strength was just slightly stronger than the rogue devil. However, after consuming the pill, his strength was already 30% higher than the rogue devil. When the pill cultivators of the pill ancestor realm fight, they would usually consume a large number of auxiliary pills to increase their strength. If one thinks that the pill refinement masters of the 4 heavens were weak, then they would be gravely mistaken. Void technique, divine pill rain. Changshan sneered and pointed at the rogue devil. Immediately, countless golden raindrops fell from the sky. If one takes a closer look, they would realize that each of the golden raindrops was a pill of a high grade. The rogue devil looked at the sky full of pill rain with a solemn expression. However, he did not show any fear. He had even fought against a life-immortal realm expert before. Why would he be afraid of Changshan? Alright, even though he was just a bystander in the battle between the life-immortal realm experts, the rogue devil channeled all of his devil chi into his fist. Without saying a word, he threw hundreds of punches at the sky, shattering the golden pill rain one after another. Pill slash. Changshan's eyes suddenly turned cold. Countless golden pill rain that was shattered suddenly condensed into a gigantic golden sword light. With an unbelievable speed, the sword slashed the rogue devil into half. The rogue devil is dead. Lu Xiao and the others were so shocked that their faces turned pale. Isn't this Changshan a little too powerful? He can even kill a loose devil. Nonsense. How can I die so easily? The two halves of the rogue devil suddenly dispersed into devil mist and reformed into a giant devil body. Although he refused to show any weakness, his body was indeed injured by the Dao pill. This medicine jar is really powerful. The rogue devil murmured in his heart. Oh, he's still alive? This rogue devil is really out of my expectation. He's much more powerful than the one from the Immortal Burial Clan. In that case, I'm afraid I'll have to use more pills to win. Fire-suppressing pill, battle pill. At the same time, Changshan took out 2 peak 7th revolution pills and consumed them. In an instant, his magic power increased by 30%, and his body was filled with fire chi. At this moment, he could almost defeat the rogue devil with his strength. Immortal technique, fire refining starry sky. Changshan calmly pointed his finger. The sky within 10 million miles was instantly set ablaze. Hundreds of burning meteorites fell on the rogue devil's head. His expression changed drastically. If he was hit by these meteorites, he would be severely injured even if he was not burned to ashes. Damn it. This medicine jar is really against the rules. After consuming the medicine, his strength is much stronger than mine. The rogue devil gritted his teeth. He infused his devil chi into his fist and threw hundreds of punches at the sky. This time, he only managed to shatter half of the meteorites. He did not have the strength to shatter the remaining half. Not good. I'm going to be hit. Just as the rogue devil was about to turn into devil mist to reduce his injuries, a golden sword light suddenly flashed in front of him. It was Ning Fan and Ming Quebec. Without saying a word, Ning Fan raised his hand and summoned a 30,000 zhang tall monument. The power of the giant monument was only at the 5 destruction realm. However, it was born to be the nemesis of fire. Thus, it was naturally not afraid of these ordinary burning meteorites. The giant monument smashed through all the meteorites in the sky and turned them into ashes. He then made another hand seal, and all the sea of fire within 10 million li was absorbed into the monument. After that, Ning Fan calmly kept the monument shadow and looked at Changshan with a solemn expression, as if he was making a decision. This Changshan is very powerful. The rogue devil is no match for him. Master. The rogue devil was stunned. He was saved by Ning Fan once again. Oh, you can withstand my incomplete immortal technique? Changshan revealed a surprised expression. Then he sneered. It seems like you are going to attack me together with this rogue devil. If that's the case, I really have to use my final trump card. I originally didn't want to consume this pill. Changshan took out a low-grade 8 revolution pill and swallowed it. The moment he swallowed it, his body suddenly split into 2. Low-grade 8 revolution shadow cracking pill. It could split a shadow of the same grade from his body to assist him. This pill was also effective for life immortal realm cultivators. However, this pill also had a weakness. If the main body dies, the shadow would naturally die as well. After all, the shadow was not the real second primordial spirit. One Changshan turned into 2 Changshans. One Changshan was enough to crush the rogue devil. With 2 Changshans here, who could survive? Lu Xiao and the others revealed a look of despair. They knew that there was no way for them to survive today. It was already impossible for them to betray and surrender to Changshan now. After all, Ning Fan had planted a mental seal on them. If he dies, they would certainly die. How could they surrender? Master, we can't defeat him. I have a secret technique of the Devil Dao that can activate the speed of a life immortal realm expert for a short period of time. I'll bring all of you out of this place. The rogue devil gritted his teeth and transmitted his voice to Ningfan. If Ningfan dies, he would also die. Naturally, he wanted Ningfan to live for a long time. Ningfan shook his head and rejected the rogue devil's suggestion. We can't escape. Since this person could find Ming Ke all the way here, he probably has some methods to track her whereabouts. We can escape today. However, after we get out of the ancient heavenly court, we will still be entangled by the Pill sect. Unless Ningfan hands Ming Ke over to the Pill sect, only then can this disaster be resolved. However, Ningfan would never do such a thing. Moreover, he still had to go to the 33 heavens. If he escapes from the ancient heavenly court just like that, how could he revive Mu Weiliang? He will not escape. Ningfan's eyes flashed with cold light. He seemed to have made up his mind. Si Wuxia had told him to rush up to the 33 heavens regardless of everything. Today he must do it without any hesitation. He locked his killing intent on one of the two Changshans. That person was Changshan's true body. As long as I kill this person, I will be considered to have passed this tribulation. Oh, look at your eyes. Do you still want to resist me? The eyes of the two Changshans turned grim at the same time. They were about to attack and kill Ningfan. At the next moment, the expressions of the two Changshans changed greatly. Ningfan flicked his sleeve and the Emperor Xia sword appeared in his hand. He held the golden sword in his hand. What floated around his body was no longer golden sword intent, but layers of blood-red light. His physical body seemed like it was about to turn into specks of dust and dissipate. His eyes, however, were filled with madness. An extremely terrifying blood-red sword light was brewing on Ningfan's sword. Changshan did not know what kind of sword technique Ningfan was using. He faintly felt that if he uses this sword technique, he would certainly die. With this young man's cultivation base, it's impossible for him to use such a terrifying sword technique. He must have to pay a huge price to use this sword technique. He wants to perish together with me. He's just a pill devil. Why would he go to this extent just to protect a pill devil? Hold on. I remember now. The Bingjie sect. It's the Bingjie sect. Changshan's face suddenly turned pale. The name of an extremely crazy sword sect suddenly appeared in his mind. The Bingjie sect was a sword sect in the Western Heaven Immortal World. Its sect master's cultivation base was just at the Transcending Truth realm. However, even the cultivators from the Shedding Void realm would not dare to provoke the Bingjie sect. If the sect master of the Bingjie sect disintegrates his soul and condenses it into sword light, he would be able to kill his enemies with a single slash. Every time the war between the four heavens and the demon spirit land took place, the disciples of the Bingjie sect would always rush to the front lines. They would self-destruct their physical bodies in a suicidal attack to kill the experts of the demon race. Tens of thousands of disciples of the Bingjie sect would self-destruct their physical bodies at the same time. That kind of terrifying scene had once shocked Changshan. He recognized it. Ningfan's sword technique was very similar to the sword technique of the Bingjie sect. Ningfan was really going to self-destruct and perish together with him. I'm here. Step back. A slightly dissatisfied female voice suddenly resounded beside Ningfan's ears. The fragrance of the lady entered Ningfan's nose. It was actually very familiar. The lady's delicate palm was placed on Ningfan's hand that was holding the sword. She slowly calmed the chaotic sword chi in his body. She wore white robes that were spotless and her face was covered with a light veil. Suddenly, she looked at Changshan coldly and waved her sleeve at him. Her seemingly soft sleeve suddenly traveled across a great distance. Like a falling mountain, it crushed Changshan's shadow with a single strike. She waved her long sleeve and pointed at Ningfan with a gentle finger. Her index finger was as green as a spring onion, but it seemed to contain boundless power. A ray of 7-colored finger light touched Changshan's chest. Changshan's expression immediately changed. At the next moment, he was sent flying backwards while coughing out blood. He stared at the lady in white with extreme shock. Kunlun Jade Pool. Damn it! This young man actually has such a strong reinforcement. If that's the case, I can only retreat temporarily and wait for an opportunity. Changshan forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat. Then he took out a silver pill and swallowed it in one go. In an instant, his body turned into a ray of silver light and fled far away. His speed was infinitely close to that of a life immortal. No one here could catch up with him. He did not escape from the ancient heavenly court. Instead, he found a secluded place to heal his injuries before plotting to capture the Pill Devil. He might not be a match for the lady in white, but if he could take the Pill Devil by surprise and escape, his chances of success were still very high. We're saved. Who is that fairy? She's so beautiful. Lu Xiao and the others widened their eyes. They could sense an inviolable, sacred beauty from the woman in white. She wouldn't allow anyone to blaspheme or insult her. She had an innate dignity that stood above millions of people. She stood aloof from the world, far away from the world. No man could touch her. Cici, aren't you in the 33 heavens? Why did you come to the lower heaven realm? Ning Fan was stunned and looked at the lady in white. That lady was Wuxia. She was supposed to unseal the undying tree in the 33 heavens, but she came to the lower heaven realm. You've already stirred up great chaos in the immortal burial clan. If I didn't come, what should I do if you die in the hands of the 9 ancestors and 18 kings? Wuxia's tone was cold and unapproachable. This time, she came to the lower heaven realm with her clone. However, this clone had the cultivation base of a half-step life immortal. Are you worried about me so you came to help me? Ning Fan asked with a smile. Don't misunderstand. I just don't want you to die. After all, you're the key to resurrecting her. Why aren't you leaving? With me following you this time, you should be able to reach the 33 heavens earlier. Wuxia's tone sounded impatient, but her eyes were filled with surprise. She didn't expect that he had already broken through to the 6th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm after just a few decades. Who is this sister? Is she also Brother Biscuit's confidant? Ming Ke looked at Ning Fan with a smile. Don't talk nonsense. I no longer have any relationship with him. Wuxia's eyes were cold. She glanced at Ming Ke indifferently and frowned. Pill Devil physique. Immemorial Dark Sparrow's blood. This little girl in front of me isn't simple. Did that rogue immortal of the Pill sect come to snatch this little girl? Did he offend the Pill sect again? He really knows how to cause trouble. This is also my mistress? I never thought that I would have such a powerful mistress. The rogue immortal was shocked. He knew how powerful Changshan was. Even someone as powerful as Changshan was repelled by Wuxia after using all his means. Moreover, this Wuxia seemed to be just a clone. How strong is her true body? Master is too capable. He even dares to accept such a powerful woman. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.